not like Jensen Ackles at all. I do not like him. I don't like him.
You don't?
I don't. And I have not, since Supernatural, I never really had empathy for Dean Winchester too much. Well, obviously Dean Winchester is who he is in the show, and I get how some people could just feel that way about Dean Winchester. I get this vibe from Jensen Ackles, and I've said this before on this show.
Oh, you're talking about Jensen himself, not the character
Jensen,
Dean.
yeah, not Dean.
I was say because you love Dean. Like, what are you talking about?
I don't love Dean because I don't love Jensen. I don't. I do not. I don't like anything that Jensen does because something about him, this is just me, and I don't know why I feel this way, honestly, but I get vibes from certain people, and I've been right a lot of the times in my I don't know, just my assumptions of somebody right off the bat. If I get this bad vibe, I've usually been right. I do not think he's a good person at all. I think he's an actor, and he's very great at it. Death Holler Podcast. Okay, let's roll into our pick show, our favorite Halloween picks.
All righty, welcome back to Death Holler. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Death, and joining me, as always, my co-host, Llareyna, and these are our best of the rest picks, as it were, the best of the worst, or in other words, or maybe the best of the best, depending upon, since Reyna thought that the first one was just okay. So, I will be going second because I'm fairly sure that it's going to be, we're going to have different choices here, but Reyna, take it away, and let's tell us what your best of the Halloween films are, best of the rest.
Best of the rest or best of the worst? Well, I have notes outlined identical to how you outline your notes. So I went full blown with this one. And it was a tough choice for me because I think there's one that is before this one that was good for a different reason, but you'll understand my reasons for making it my top pick for what I think is the best Halloween film in the series of the correct me if I'm wrong, 13 films, 12?
It's somewhere like that. I didn't keep track of how many. Let's see, there's 6. Then there's, three's not technically, but still, it's a Halloween movie. There's H2O, that's 7. There's 2 Rob Zombies, that's 9. Then there's the David Gordon Green. So what does that makes that 12? Yeah,
12. Okay.
And we are going to do our also rans, meaning our second runners up. So we're not going to go into depth about them. Just mention why you like them and what they are. So
yeah, and I hate to inform you that there may or may not be debate on why he thinks his film is the best or why I think my film is the best because. I don't know. I don't know if our films are even close to each other. So without further ado, the film that I picked as my favorite Halloween film was Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills. Wow. It was not that.
Okay.
I for sure did not pick that. I like this choice because it's not one of my also rans either. Even though I like this movie, it's not one of my also rans. So this is completely out of what I've got on the docket.
I thought we would be close. And I'm going to get into a little bit later because it's not going to be a surprise why I like this film. In my opinion, it's not going to be a surprise. But
because Michael Myers is basically Jason in this movie, and it's fucking cool. It really is.
There's a scene. We'll get to it. Tagline: Face your fate. It's clear. It's to the
point. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's what she's doing. Now, granted, I think in 2018, she was facing her fate. So I feel like this tagline is a little too late,
Yeah, it is. It's a movie past.
Yes, directed by David Gordon Green, who also directed Halloween 2018, which we've kind of been discussing here and there, which I thought would probably be in your favorites. We'll get into that later. because when you tell me what your favorite is. Written by John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, and Jeff Fradley. Music by John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davies. And I did not look, but Cody Carpenter, is that his son?
That is his son, and John Carpenter. I mean, the music in the news, the three that came out recently, is fucking awesome.
Ooh.
Like those two really did a good job.
Yes,
like, I mean,
music is superb in 2018 in Kills and Ends. Well, yes. I don't know about Ends so much, but it wasn't terrible, so we'll just leave it at that. Box office. Now, I don't know how you pull your box office. I pulled U.S., Canada, and worldwide. So U.S. and Canada, it was 92. Oh, excuse me. Box office budget. First of all, the budget was $20 million. Box office was 92.1 million. I don't think I got that right. 92 million-ish. Worldwide, it was 133.4 million.
Okay, that's pretty good profits worldwide.
Yes,
I basically do total gross whenever I'm picking them. So yeah.
Yeah. Principal players. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you'll recognize some of these people. Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode. She's our final girl. Judy Greer plays her daughter, Karen Nelson. I didn't pull other films that these people have been in.
Judy Greer is most famous for being the voice of Carol, the psychotic, likes to be choked for sexual purposes, secretary on Archer. That's what she's primarily known for.
Oh my God. I love her.
She's basically like she talks like there's a TikTok girl that like does a really good cosplay of her. And she's always playing like some of the lines, and they're so psychotic. Like some of the stuff Carol says, like she can't have knitting needles because they wasn't allowed back on the floor whenever she was, like kept in the mental institution, like that sort of stuff.
She was in Jawbreaker. I do remember her face in that, and I do also remember her in 13 Going on 30. She's been in a few decent films. Excuse me, Andy.
She was also in. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but she was also in Arrested Development. She played the not very attractive secretary, but secret lover of like the Bloom family's like older, like the dad of the family, like. That's when he was sleeping with Kitty, I think was her name in that one.
Interesting, because she's not exactly ugly, but
no, she isn't. But they uglified her. They like she was like frizzy hair.
Okay,
her eyes. I mean, really thick glasses. Her eyes looked like they were bug-eyed. Like it was. Yeah, they made her ugly. So.
And if I didn't mention already, Judy Greer does play Karen, who is Laurie's daughter, and she is for sure a Karen in this film.
Yeah, she's a Karen in the first film too. Like
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, 2018 again. This is between 2018 and Halloween Ends. So I picked the one in the middle, is where I went. Andy Matichak. I have
Matichak looks like that's how that's pronounced.
As Ellison Nelson, that's Karen's daughter and Laurie Strode's granddaughter.
I have seen her in some other stuff since this or around this. So she's in the horror realm now. Like she's starting to do more stuff, I think.
Yeah. Will Patton, he was a face that I recognized almost immediately. He plays Frank Hawkins. You can catch Will Patton. He's been in The Forever Purge, which you and I have discussed previously.
He usually plays bad guys in a lot of movies. He played the bad guy. That's what it was. He played the bad guy in the CW Swamp Thing. He was the bad guy in that one. Yeah.
You can also catch him in Halloween Ends, so he continues his role as Hawkins in that. He was in Armageddon, Gone in 60 Seconds, The Punisher. He's been in a lot of films. Ooh, The Mothman Prophecies, too. So he's got some horror under his belt for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Mann portrays a younger version of Frank Hawkins.
I love that scene.
I
heard they actually wanted to make this entire movie like an alternate Halloween 2, meaning it was set back in the same night that 78 occurred, but like the after effects, but like they couldn't get the budget to do like the de-aging and all that.
Yeah.
So that's why they've just got that short scene that goes back to 78 and like links to movies.
It was short, but it was effective.
And the guy that they got play Loomis, I mean, it looks good.
Oh my
the way that
God.
They filmed it.
I guess for him, all they did was like a little bit of a prosthetic on his nose and a little bit of makeup.
Yeah,
and then they had another guy do his voice. Winnie the Pooh. No, he did not have a Winnie the Pooh voice in this one, not even for his small scene.
The Winnie the Pooh voice is primarily from part 4 on. Like,
yeah.
That's when it really got bad.
Yeah,
so.
and he Pooh Bears it up for sure. Let me see. Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy Doyle, Lindsay's friend and one of the children Laurie babysat in 1978. He was previously portrayed by Brian Andrews in the 1978 original and by Paul Rudd, which I know there's some trivia, but they did try to get Paul Rudd to come back in.
He was busy filming Ghostbusters Afterlife or whatever,
and we respect the fuck out of that. So
he's gonna get that dick.
That dick.
You skipped one though, that Jacob Keoughan or whatever as Tobias. You skipped that one.
Where the fuck is that at?
It's right above Anthony Michael Hall. You got it on your notes there.
It's not on my notes anymore.
That's strange. You got Jacob Keoughan as Tobias, a deputy who is Frank Hawkins' partner in 1978, and the first person to unmask Michael Myers.
I did see that, and it's not here anymore.
Okay,
that's
interesting.
Fucking weird. Okay.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Who else do I have here? Robert Longstreet as Lonnie Elam, Cameron's father, who bullied Tommy Doyle as a child, but now is his best friend. And was previously portrayed by Brent LePage in 1978. I don't know that. Well, I do. Okay, there's a few people I'm kind of skipping, but I kind of wanted to jump to this. There was only 2 people. I thought there was 5 people in this one, 4 or 5 people that play the Shape, a.k.a. Michael Myers. That's James Jude Courtney and Nick Castle. So Nick Castle is back in this film.
He plays Michael in the 78 throwback, I think.
Which I thought you said that was just a scene that they ended up not using. Or was that in the 2018 film?
Maybe 2018, because he's definitely listed as credit in Kills as being the Shape. So
yeah.
And James Jude Courtney is like the older guy who's, actually, he's a pretty damn good Michael. In 2018 version, he's very, in this one too, he's a force of nature. He does a good job portraying the character.
Yeah. We got some oldies but goodies in here. We got Charles Cyphers as Lee Brackett, Haddonfield's former sheriff who lost his daughter in the 1978 killing spree and pursued Michael alongside Samuel Loomis. Cyphers reprises his role from the 1978 original and the now ignored 1981 sequel, Halloween 2, which we just discussed.
Hell yeah, ignore that movie.
Brackett sees his daughter's corpse and is still used in this film. Nancy Stevens as Marion Chambers, the retired former assistant to Dr. Samuel Loomis. Stevens reprises her role from the 1978 original film and now ignored sequels, Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O 20 years later.
I couldn't figure out who that lady was, but that's who she.
Yeah,
she's the lady at the beginning of H2O that somehow got all the paperwork on Michael and Laurie, and that's whenever he breaks into the house and kills her. That's who she is. Okay.
And last but definitely not least on my list, Kyle Richards as Lindsay Wallace, Tommy's friend and one of the children Laurie babysat in 1978. Richards reprises her role from the 1978 film.
She grew up. She grew up right.
Yeah, grew up tall. She grew up right. My synopsis isn't going to be as fun as yours, but the nightmare isn't over as unstoppable killer Michael Myers escapes from Laurie Strode's trap to continue his ritual bloodbath. Injured and taken to the hospital, Laurie reunites with Tommy Doyle, the boy who she was babysitting, on the night Michael began his reign of terror. As Laurie continues to fight through the pain, Tommy leads an angry mob of vigilantes to rise up against Michael Myers and destroy the evil once and for all. The air's getting chill, Michael's getting ill, and for the town of Haddonfield, Halloween kills.
Evil dies tonight.
Which I have some trivia on that. So, body count. I'm going to go through this very quickly.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. We have a respectable, a beautiful, a shiny and brand new 26. We got Pete McCabe. He's shot in the neck. by Frank Hawkins. That's in the flashback. So that was his partner, and that was a very good and touching scene. Excuse me, Tom Bentley, not sure who that is. And these are all by Michael Myers. I'll tell you if it's not. He was bludgeoned in the face with a Halligan bar. Is that how you pronounce that?
Something like that. Yeah, it's basically it's a crowbar mixed with a with like an axe.
Okay, thank you.
You know,
because I thought it was an axe, so I'm like, what the fuck is a Halligan bar? I am a California girly. Okay,
it's a tool that firefighters use. And the only reason I know that is because it's one of the tools that you can poke when the fire stations on. It's a zombie game that's on Xbox or whatever. I played the shit out of it. I'm just not coming. It's like not coming to my mind. But anyways, you go to the fire departments and you pick one of those Halligan tools up, and it's an okay tool, like in that game, to kill zombies with. So.
Okay. Firefighter number 2, 3, 4, and 5 were either bludgeoned or stabbed with this Halligan bar.
Yep.
It's brutal. It's brutal. It's beautiful. It works. Firefighter number 6. Oh, no, this one was real good. He was sliced through the chest with a circular saw that he was trying to use on Michael Myers, and Michael managed to flip it. He put his game down, flipped it, and reversed it on him, okay? And the firefighter killed himself with his own circular saw. Firefighter number 5, or 5 additional firefighters, excuse me. That's just how they're listed. Were killed. That's it.
Just in a quick montage, like just slicing dice.
And it says it wasn't on screen, so we just assume that they were dead, honestly, with those. So most of these are on screen. Phil Dickerson. Phil Dickerson. His neck was impaled on glass and stabbed in the back with multiple knives. He was pinned to a table with knives while his fucking wife watched. Brutal. Loved it. Somebody named Dennis, he was just killed, and that was off screen, so we don't care. Marion Chambers stabbed 4 times in the chest while she's trying to tell Michael Myers with the gun, "Hey Michael, this is for Dr. Loomis," and no bullets in the gun, because she decided to shoot out every fucking window in that car before she actually hit a target.
Oh, I remember that scene. Yeah, she's like shooting everything but him.
Yeah, so that really sucked. Marcus Wilson, one of what I thought was going to be a main character, he got stabbed in the eye, and that was good. That looked so good. That looked so real, and the way he died, I think he did a great job. That was in the backseat of the car after Marion got fucking wrecked. So,
okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
is the African American gentleman, if you will,
the doctor, as it were.
Yes. Yeah, the one who kept losing his fucking stethoscope.
And he's actually in the first movie when there's a scene where Michael's going through the town at night, and he sees the doctor and his wife getting ready to go out for the night, and he stops and watches them.
Oh yeah,
and then some kids from another nearby house distract him.
I do remember that. Yeah, and he fucking forgot his stethoscope in that scene too.
Yeah, he did.
He had to go back in the car. I thought she was going to get wrecked too. Let me see. Vanessa Wilson, his wife, the hot nurse, the door got kicked under the gun that she was aiming at Michael, turned it on her, she immediately shoots. It looked good. They did that scene.
That's a very bloody and pulpy scene.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
They did. That was so good because it was so fast, and you can tell that she's never really had a gun before, although there would have been a lot more recoil on that specific gun with that small little girl. I'm just saying. There's no way she could have held it out extended like that.
That's true.
She wasn't wearing heels at the time, but there would have been a lot more recoil. But yeah, he kicks the door open. It hits the gun just perfectly. She appears to not have a lot of experience with a gun. She shoots herself in the face. It was good. I loved it. I don't know if that's one of my favorite kills or not. It's up there. Big John stabbed in the armpit and eyes gouged out. Beautiful. Beautiful. Little John stabbed in the chest and neck. I mean, we're just getting into the basic stuff, but that was off screen, so...
and we got to mention this is a Mad TV alum that played Stewart on Mad TV.
Let me do it.
No, let me do it. No.
He could have voiced Loomis.
He could have, I guess.
Anthony Tavalli jumped out of the hospital window. That was sad because this was
the fat dumpy guy that was a mental patient that everybody thought was Michael. That's when the people have contention with this movie, they have contention with that character because they're like, nobody could look at him and assume he was Michael. But the point of the movie is that with mob mentality, it doesn't matter if they look like it or not. You're amped to want to kill, or just to go along with the crowd. And there's some politics in that, and there's some and ones that we personally would get annoyed with from David Gordon Green's side, but just in general, mobs do operate that way because back in the the Wild West, that was the reason why the local town sheriffs had to try to keep the mobs at bay because before the person even had time for a trial, they were just willing to hang them and be done with it. So
and at this point, he is being protected by Allison. She is trying to make sure he doesn't get killed, and she did her best. I feel like if somebody's blocking locked doors before a mob goes crazy and tries to go at her, there's going to be at least one person in the crowd that's like, what the fuck are you doing? And maybe she would have just been like Loomis and been like, oh my God, there's someone else. It's the other person. It's Halloween. Just started spewing a bunch of nonsense, and then they would have just went past her and fucking tried to kill this guy.
Now, I'm going to throw this out there. I think I've discussed it with Cody, and like one of the things he hates about this particular thing is that it's like David Gordon Green's trying to say that mobs are bad, and he's like, and his point is, it's like, who the fuck was arguing that mobs were a good thing? And I can't disagree with that statement.
100%.
But again, David Gordon Green was going along with stuff that he saw going on around the time.
Yes.
I would argue that it would apply to both sides of the political party, but David Gordon Green was trying to side with say that the people with the red hats were a little bit on the mob side.
Okay. Well,
that's where he was coming from. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's not how I see it.
I would argue that the Summer of Love, when certain people were burning down cities that had nothing to do with their particular issues, that was also mob mentality, but he conveniently left that out of the argument.
No. Let me see. What else do we have? So Anthony Tavalli, which is the, he was a mental patient. He jumped out of the hospital window. Let me see. Lonnie Elam, he was mangled by Michael Myers, not on screen. Boo. Cameron Elam stabbed twice in the stomach and neck broken. Michael Myers loves to break a neck. Lee Brackett, throat slashed. But I don't. Do we spoil? We spoil. He didn't die. Did Brackett die? I don't think Brackett died.
I thought Sheriff Brackett did die in that movie. Like, I thought that was like, he came back. Charles Cyphers played the character again, and he died.
Maybe it is Brackett. Which cop am I thinking that didn't die?
Hawkins
is the one that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Mob member number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. They got slashed in one way or another. Throat, stabbed. Fucking whatever. They got slashed. And Tommy Doyle, little Tommy Doyle, he was part of the mob. He was stabbed in the chest and bludgeoned with a bat, and then whatever shards were left of that bat was shoved into his chest as well. So, yep. So that was our 20.
At least one more person.
Oh, one more person. Karen Nelson. The dumbest death. Karen Nelson was stabbed 9 times. I don't know if there's any significance to that number. She was stabbed 9 times on screen by Michael Myers when she decided it was a good idea to go up into the Myers house because she saw a child version of Michael Myers and went to investigate. And then, as I stated, I put 3 to 4 firemen, not counted. That is incorrect. On my notes, there was 5 firemen that were slashed off screen.
My favorite quote-unquote kill, but it's retconned and ends that it wasn't a kill, is the lady who has the halogen bulb like shoved in her throat.
Yes, it was retconned. I noticed that too. You never actually see her die. She was breathing the whole time, but to survive what she went through, I don't see that. Is she related to Michael Myers? Is she part of the fucking...
She's that, or she's one of the core four from the Scream movies.
Yeah.
That somehow survives like getting stabbed 17 times and still alive.
Yeah,
Whatever.
at least they had her in a fucking wheelchair, though. She wasn't like up fucking actually trying to chase down Michael. Though who
That's
is
true.
pushing her around during an angry mob, I guess it wasn't an angry mob. It was taking him to go to the wood chipper, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Yeah. Other taglines used in this film. Evil dies tonight, which, by the way, they used it exactly 29 times. I believe in just this film alone. I'm going to go with that. Oh, God. I like how I typed this out so terribly. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode isn't over.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm good. You can't kill the boogeyman, which I like that one. I'm not going to lie.
It's hard to stop a train.
Yeah. More of the night evil came home 40 years later.
Too much. That's too much.
Let it burn.
That's a good one, but not for this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe for, what is that firefighter movie that I'm blanking on it. Flashpoint, I think is the name of the movie. That'd be good for that. So, but not for this.
Alexa, play "Let It Burn" by Usher.
That last one's hilarious.
3 generations strode strong. Oh, blow me, fucking blow me.
Yeah. You Can't Kill the Boogeyman's probably the best out of that.
Yeah.
Evil Dies Tonight, just because it's said so fucking much in the movie.
Throughout the fucking series of the film, if we're being honest.
Yeah, true.
So, got some quotes here. Good, I don't have a ton of them. Laurie Strode, I'm coming for you, Michael. Okay, pretty basic.
That could be taken out of context.
Yeah. Gross. Well, she's not his sister in this film, so,
I'm not your sister, not your sister.
Yeah. He can't get it up anymore. Lee Brackett. Hey, Michael, it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare. I mean, come on. You heard it once, you heard it twice.
Yeah.
Heard it a million times,
Say it once more and Beetlejuice comes out.
Oh, God. Dr. Samuel Loomis to Young Hawkins. Did Michael kill again? As a matter of fact, Loomis, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, we've never heard this one. Tommy Doyle. Evil dies tonight.
That's pretty much what Tommy says in this movie, so that's appropriate.
Marion, right before she fucking gets destroyed. Hey, Michael, this is for Dr. Loomis, and then realizes her gun is empty. There you go. Phil, goddamn sleep apnea mask smells like Lucky Strikes from when your mom borrowed it. That wasn't the Lucky Strikes. That was the Strode house that was on fire that Michael got rescued from, so... Sandra, who was there, I smell it too, but that stink ain't cigarettes. That's Laurie Strode's house on fire. Well, from upstairs, looks like they put it out, but that nutbag lives a highly flammable lifestyle.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's true.
It goes on. Sandra, better not talk shit about that woman. She'll fuck you up.
That's true as well.
Phil, how about you and I snack on some Cheez-Its and try a little... Bourgeois Noir. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know what he's recommending they try, but I don't even want to Google it.
That's hilarious what he says to Michael, though, after he takes the mask or whatever, or after Laurie takes the mask.
What did he say?
Or this right here, it says the shape or whatever. It's
the shape after Laurie takes his mask. Give it back. I didn't catch that. Did you?
I didn't catch it either, no.
I don't remember that, so now I need to Google that to see if that actually happened, because Michael Myers does not fucking speak. All right, let's get into the movie review. You remember this film? You just watched it not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. I didn't rewatch it for this, but I know enough to be able to tell you. So.
And I sent you a TikTok about it. Visually, I think this was a cinematic fucking masterpiece.
It's the way that it's filmed, the lights. I mean, it's the fire scene at the beginning, the dark night, the kills. I mean, it's visually, it's a very well done. And that mask is the best.
Oh,
that
yeah,
burnt mask.
Yeah, the half burnt mask. Yeah, I mean, there's so much about this film in terms of how it looked, the lighting, the angles, the frames, the frame rate, I should say, that they used, especially during the Michael Myers killing the entire fucking mob that just literally beat his ass. Like, Busta Rhymes had nothing on this mob.
No, his kung fu would have not stood up to the mob as far as like what they could do.
It wouldn't. Also, is this is a Blumhouse film, correct?
Yes.
It doesn't, for some reason, does it look like a Blumhouse film to you?
It looks much better than most of their stuff.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say, I was kind of surprised to find this was a Blumhouse, not because I feel like Blumhouse does better in terms of horror comedies. Honestly, I've been liking those a little bit more from them. I definitely love this film.
2018 is a really good looking movie, but I feel like they amped the visuals up for this, like
they
you
did.
said, quite a bit.
I feel like the scene, which is the scene that I fell in love with, and this is what made it the movie for me, which is when he's killing the mob. It looks almost like graphic novel style. It almost looks like when we got the filming from 30 Days of Night, something like that. Or, God, I can't think of the other, another graphic novel I've read that's not a horror themed one, but like the film that came out, Sin City.
Sin City, 300, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it had that kind of look to it to me. That's what sold it to me. Anything you want to say about it visually?
I mean, I can't disagree. The scenes in particular when they're in that car and they're at the playground and then they see the three masks from Halloween 3, which is always a delight for me. But just the scenes around that where, the Nurse Marion's trying to shoot him. And then like the one actual doctor's wife ends up shooting herself.
Yeah.
Just that whole thing, just the way it's cut and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I really dug it. And then, I mean, you can have your complaints about The Evil Dies Tonight and the mobs are bad, overall plot, but like, I mean, it's very well filmed and the kills are really out there. And yes, he is more like Jason, but I like that a lot. So.
Yeah. He's also faster in this film. So
yes, quite a bit.
Yeah, we got a faster Jason.
Because he's amped up in this one. He's
Yeah, for reals. The storyline, it's kind of just following what we got in 2018. It kind of picks right up from it.
2018 has a better story.
Yes, I will 100% agree with you on that. It kind of sucks because there's so many things between 18 and ends that I like that I really wish that there was things I could collect from each film to make one good movie.
I think that what they should have done, and I was going to bring this up if you picked one of these movies, is that I've heard the argument that they should have worked backwards. So they should have started with ends.
Yeah.
Laurie is like, she's prepped, but she's kind of like, she's decided that she's going to live her life. And then her daughter gets killed, in the middle movie.
Yes.
And then she becomes the hermit in the last movie and traps him in the fire. And that's how it ends, is in the fire. So working its way back. Corey could have been worked into the films in the reverse order as well. They could have introduced him in the background, have like this story about the babysitter who killed his kid, the kid he was trying to watch. Had more of him in, kills while all this shit was going on. And then in the final movie, whenever Michael dies in the fire explosion or the fiery, house trap, Corey then puts on the mask at the end of the movie and it sets up that he's going to be the killer afterward. It would have worked better that way,
Yeah. I would have had to have known that Corey was related in some way, though.
The evil can pass on without them being related, for God's sake.
I don't think so.
The druid said so.
It's in the blood. It's in the blood.
The body and the blood, yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, he could have had sex with fucking Allison and somehow she her devil vagina magic.
Listen, that ends where she's turning to Corey's side was so interesting, and they fucking pissed it away. They pissed it away.
Yeah, they did. Which I didn't like Halloween Ends, so
Well, I didn't either, but that's because I got most of a movie that I wanted, and then they pissed it all away trying to make fans like you happy, and didn't make either one of us happy. So that's fine.
Yeah, so Too Long didn't read the storyline. It's just picking up from what 2018 threw down. The mob mentality is cool. At first I didn't see it as them making fun of the red hats, which I don't agree with.
I didn't take it as that, but I heard him say that after the fact, and it made me mad.
Which
it made me mad.
Stupid. The mob mentality, it can work. And there is going to be, yes, mistakes are going to happen. We've actually seen shit go wrong in other films where they had a mob and where they killed the wrong person.
Well, the thing about the mob mentality is it can apply to anybody, and that's why when I watched it, I was like, that's a cool concept. He's trying to talk about how like anybody, when they're caught up in the sweep of things, and you can apply whatever. I mean, if you're on the left or on your right, you can see that in both sides, and you can say that's a good idea. But then whenever the guy comes out and says, no, those people on the one side, they were doing the right thing. It's those red hats that were no.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
the mob mentality is, I mean, it's not like Shakespearean or Einstein level to say that it's bad, but him representing how bad it can be is interesting.
Well, this is where this argument goes wrong for him in saying that, oh yeah, it's related to this, blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of this day, everyone was rooting for the mob because they were together for the greater good. And the greater good was to get rid of the evil, which was Michael Myers.
True. Yeah,
okay?
100%. And so his metaphor doesn't work.
Yes.
I mean, in that sense.
Unless you want to try to compare Michael Myers to Trump, which he did not. And I don't think that's a route you want to go. I mean, he kind of has the hair, it's not blonde, but...
No, it was almost like Tommy Doyle was supposed to represent Trump because he was the one that was getting everybody incited up to whipping up the fury or whatever.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work because we were all rooting for these people to finally get rid of. Like, we love Michael Myers. Don't get us wrong, but he has to go.
Now, I will say this. If you want to get political, and I'm not getting political, I'm just saying this. I have always thought that the mask in part 2 kind of looks like Joe Biden's face. It really does. It really does. So the fact that Joe Biden turned around and beat Trump to death in a roundabout way in this movie, read into it what you want, folks. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it's okay when you look at it apolitically, and it works for me. But then whenever he came out and said that, it kind of soured me on it. I'm like, listen, you're not even going by your own rules in this. Like, I mean, you're saying that mob is okay because they're doing it for the right reasons. Well, I mean, if this is supposed to represent the red hats, they were doing it for the right reasons, just like you said.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm sorry, sir. Your argument isn't great, but acting. I
don't really feel like anybody was that bad. Now, Anthony Michael Hall is a way better actor than they gave him use of in this movie. That Evil Dies Tonight that he has to say like a million times, I've seen him do lots better, so they could have gotten more out of him if they would have written more for him.
Yeah, I think that the writing, I don't know if it's the writing or the directing, they get straight to the point in this film, which I love. I love that more than anything. So a lot of the things that were kind of happening, like, I didn't particularly like the setup, and I don't know how you felt, of the show that they had going on at the bar. The talent show.
Oh, yeah, like the little talent show that they always get together and they sing like some kind of tune or whatever on Halloween night together. Yeah.
So I wasn't feeling that, but hey, I guess at the end of the day it works. It happened, and I'm not buying. I guess I wasn't buying the whole, let's get the torches and pitchforks, and make this happen. It happened. They fell together super easily, but I don't know that I was getting this great leadership role that was making this happen, honestly.
There's one more thing about that scene at the beginning where you're talking about they're getting together and doing the karaoke. I've heard a lot of people make the comment, and I can't disagree with this as a critique, that there's no reason that Nurse Marion would have any association with these other people. They're like half her age. Like, why did she like randomly? I mean, I know that she's tied to Loomis and that, you know, this stuff happened, but like she's not from Haddonfield. Like, she has the least reason to be there. It's just, I know they wanted the actress back to kind of tie it back, but the critiques of her not making any sense within that group are accurate.
Yeah, I guess I really didn't think about that. I just knew that she was a survivor like everyone else.
Yeah, she got attacked, so I mean, it kind of makes sense that she's a survivor too, but like, she has nothing else in common with these people. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I mean, that she would be with them.
I knew he had to tell a story, so they had to set up a way for him to tell the story. I just know that if we're all partying on a Halloween night at a bar, having a good time, and then somebody comes up with this sob story, if you think about it, that like totally dampened the night. Like, you know?
Yeah, it kind of ruined a lot. So,
yeah. Anyways,
music, amazing.
Oh,
it's, you know,
I mean, we
Carpenter
have the OGs
son,
back. Yeah.
You know,
you can't get any better with the music, honestly. It worked in every scene. It was intense. It was, you know, it had that thrilling feeling to it every time it needed to. I loved it.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I really do. Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say that, you know, that, I mean, it's kind of fallen for me a little bit whenever I go back and I hear the nitpicks, and I can't disagree with them.
Yeah.
But the overall action and stuff like that, it's an enjoyable watch for me.
Yeah. I mean, the it's not perfect because I think the visuals and the music are what hold this film together. And I think you would argue that for part one, that's kind of what it was.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I mean, but it's a basic premise in the first one. So, you know.
Yeah.
But the story's a lot better in 2018 overall.
Yes, definitely. So that was what was so hard, is because I almost wanted to pick 2018 because 2018 is when we get the Laurie Strodes that we deserved, that we want, that we needed.
I mean, and the Laurie Strode that made the and I'm blanking on her name, what her character was supposed to be, but from Texas Chainsaw, whenever they brought the original final girl from that, if you want to call her a final girl, the one that survived, when they brought her back into the movie, and she literally did nothing but like yell at Leatherface and like tell him to try to make a move on her, and then he did, and she didn't do a damn thing. Like, this character, like this Laurie Strode, showed up that one so much, you know, and how she was portrayed.
So yeah, it was nice to see that. I mean, granted, I feel like it continues a little bit. Well, actually, we get more of the mob mentality in this one. She's on the sidelines in this one, which kind of sucks.
She is basically part two.
Yeah. Which
in this one,
I hate so much about this film, to be honest with you, because for me to have to pick this film, because I'm like looking at, okay, what does Llareyna want in a horror film? Being able to pick that, but being able to say, like, God, you love this, but it's missing this, or it's missing that, or this movie had this, why couldn't they have that in here as well? I'm glad the last 3 films exist so far, but it sucks that you could pick pieces from each one that you really, really liked to have made this perfect, you know?
I'm going to say this is a spoiler, and my pick and my also rans, I'm in the same exact boat you are. I could pick things that I love from them, but then like I can't really, like, none of them congeal together to make like something that's like just, you know, blast anything out of the water. It's just kind of like I like this aspect, I like that, and I was on the fence with my decision for quite a while because of that.
Yeah, it's hard. At the end of the day, these are the films that we liked and for our reasons of liking them. Mine are honestly going to be a lot more simpler, I think. But that's just how I roll, you know? Anyways, you want to get into some trivia, or do you have anything else?
No, I think I think you said, what I would feel about this movie. It's interesting it shows it. I didn't know that you would pick this one. I honestly thought you'd go with 2018 over this, but
you know, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong, because I was teetering between 2018. The simplicity of Llareyna's brain is that the mob scene kills. That sold it for me, honestly, because oh my God, I loved it so much. I was like, this is amazing. I played it over and over again. Not over and over again, but I played it more than a few times. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get into some trivia. I might skip some of what I have on here because there's a lot, and we have another film to do.
Yeah.
So, pretty simple. Jamie Lee Curtis, Charles Cyphers, Kyle Richards, Nancy Stevens, and Nick Castle were all the original Halloween 1978. Excuse me, they were all in the original and returned for the sequel. The characters of Tommy Doyle and Lonnie Elam from the original also returned, but were recast with Anthony Michael Hall and Robert Longstreet because Brian Andrews was retired from acting since 2015, and Brent LePage never acted again after the original Halloween. Which, wow.
I still think if they were wanting a little bit of more continuity, having Paul Rudd, even though that's retconning him out of the thing, would have made more sense to a lot of fans. But there was a reason for that.
Oh, they said they would have loved him.
Yeah.
In the flashback scene to 1978, Michael attacks Deputy McCabe, Jim Cummings, with a rope. In the original Halloween 1978, Sheriff Lee Brackett, Charles Cyphers, responds to an alarm in a hardware store, and it was reported that a rope, some Halloween mask, and a set of knives were stolen, which they're selling Halloween mask at a hardware store.
Well, back in the day, they were kind of general purpose stores, but yeah, you would have probably expected that Halloween mask to be more in the pharmacy, but that's, neither here nor there. That is true. I just rewatched part one, like it's one of my final watches. Mm-hmm. Actually, 2018 was probably my final one, but that they did say rope, and I thought that's interesting because he doesn't use it. So. Yeah.
So I like how they kind of came back to that. They circled back is what they did.
Yeah. They worked it in.
12 pumpkins are featured in the opening title sequence, with the last one indicating Halloween Kills as the 12th Halloween film. So that means we technically have 13 films.
That's Halloween pretty cool.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, okay. Early in the movie, the wagon stolen by Michael Myers from Dr. Loomis and Nurse Marion Chambers at the Smith Grove Sanitarium in Halloween 1978 can be seen parked behind young Hawkins and Pete McCabe during one of the flashback scenes.
That's cool. That's cool.
Let me see. I'm going to skip past that one. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. Okay, Ross Bacon. This is the gentleman that played the uncredited mental patient named Tivoli in both Halloween 2018 and this film, passed away before the release of the sequel.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah. So, good on him, though. He got people to fill in the film. As this film was shot digitally, film grain filters were used in the new 1978 flashback scenes.
That makes sense. I do that. They did a great job with that flashback scene. I mean, even people who don't like the movie go on about how good that flashback scene was. So, kudos to them.
I remember this, and I don't know if you do. I'm sure you would. Your memory's a lot better than mine is. Universal received a largely negative reaction to releasing the film simultaneously in theaters and on its Peacock streaming service. This was actually producer Jason Blum's idea. Blum decided that due to the poor box office performance during the COVID-19 pandemic of Blumhouse's film Freaky in 2020, the best option was to offer viewers the option to be able to see the film on either Peacock or in theaters.
Yeah, I don't think that was the best idea for them to release it both ways because it made tons of money.
It made a ton of money, yeah.
But there was a lot of people that felt like it reduced how special the movie was a little bit by releasing it on Peacock.
I remember. I'm surprised there wasn't an angry mob because people were fucking mad about this.
Peacock dies tonight.
Yeah. Which, by the way, speaking of the Peacock, we are still not sponsored by them. Peacock, if you are looking to sponsor a podcast that talks about you, we are looking for sponsors. But that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is that Peacock is also on the 26th. Now, Five Nights at Freddy's is to be released October 27th. But on the 26th, if you are a member of Cinemark on the app or you have Peacock, you can see it, stream it at home, or you can go see it in theaters early through Cinemark.
Considering it's a 3-hour movie, I might watch it at the house.
It's a 3-hour movie?
It is, and I think that's fucking stupid as hell. I really do.
Oh my God. So
I've heard people try to make the comment, Emilia made it to me, that it's based on the book, so it needs that time. I don't agree. I think that you could trim that movie down and make sequels out of what you trim out of it. But yes.
So we are seeing this movie. I think we're seeing it in XD. I don't know if we're seeing it. Knowing me, I probably got the D box to see it because, but our movie is at 7 o'clock. So we're not getting out on a Thursday. We're not getting out till fucking 10 o'clock at night. Your girl can't hang. I'm definitely going to need a coffee.
Good luck with that.
Oh, you know what's even worse? Is that we are going to see The Nightmare Before Christmas the same week in 3D and D-Box. So not only will we have the 3D effect, we'll have the moving seats. That movie is at 10:20 at night.
Good luck. Good luck.
I'm going to fucking die. I'm just trying to see right now if we got D-Box. I can't tell if we got D-Box for, what do you call it? But whatever. Anyways, let's see. Where was I? Oh, okay. This is trivia I definitely wanted to cover because we've talked about it at least 2 or 3 times. In the original Halloween 1978, while inside the Myers house, Brackett and Loomis discover a dog in the living room that has recently been partially eaten. While referred to, it is never shown. In this film, however, in a flashback scene, Hawkins and another deputy are standing in the living room, and for the first time, the dog's half-eaten body or carcass is revealed.
Gross shit, Michael. Gross shit.
Yes, disgusting. Let me see. Halloween 2018 was released 40 years after Halloween 1978. Halloween Kills 2021 was released 40 years after Halloween 2, although that is the film we do not speak of. And Halloween Ends 2022 is set to be released 40 years after Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, 1982.
That's kind of cool.
I dig it, yeah. Nick Castle, I don't understand this so much, but Nick Castle noted that when recording the sounds of breathing as Myers, he didn't recognize his own appearance in the film.
Who's that good-looking guy?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Who's that stud right there? Let's see. Producer Ryan Freeman lobbied for Danielle Harris. If you remember her, she was in 4 and 5. The cute little clown girl, which, can we just discuss briefly real quick? I thought she was pretty decent for a child actor.
She's more than decent. She makes part 4.
I'm glad you said that because I'm like, wow, I'm pretty impressed by her. I actually felt bad. I don't know if we'll ever discuss in the future, but I'm like, was she really that terrified on set? Because I believed her. I thought she was so terrified on set.
I believe, her acting was really good. I may or may not talk about some stuff with her, depending upon what you have as your, the information here. So Go ahead.
Anyways, lobbied for Danielle Harris cameo in the film, but it was vetoed. Harris is strongly related to the franchise, having played Jamie Lloyd, Laurie Strode's daughter, and Michael Myers' niece in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, as well as playing Annie Brackett in Rob Zombie's remake, as well as that film's sequel, Halloween 2007 and Halloween 2009.
Yep,
So.
She was in at one point in time as many movies as Jamie Lee Curtis. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis then surpassed her by being in all of these. So,
yeah. Let me see. In the opening of the film, Laurie screams to the fire trucks to let it burn as they head towards her house. This is based on a deleted scene from Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, where a flashback at the end of Halloween 2, we don't speak of that, shows Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, pleading with the paramedics to let him burn after blowing up the operating room, only to be ignored. I thought I heard him say that for some reason.
I don't remember him saying that.
Okay.
I do want to go back one thing on your thing here. The logo for the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, as seen in this film, is taken directly from the now decanonized Halloween 2. So
can't we just call it the disowned Halloween 2? Like decanonized. No, it's disowned. I know it's the same meaning, but let's just call it as it is. Yeah.
And we already said the Paul Rudd stuff, so you can skip that.
Yeah, but it goes a little deeper into it. No, I mean we discussed it. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I mentioned this. The premise of Haddonfield citizens banding together against Michael Myers is similar to the vigilante mob that forms against him in Halloween 4, and there was mistakes that happened in that.
There were mistakes, and I think that's hilarious in part 4 whenever Loomis uses the mob to kind of like sweep the streets for Michael.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. For rehearsals, when Michael kills the firefighters, since Michael is blind in one eye due to Laurie stabbing him in the eye with a clothes hanger, James Jude Courtney wore an eye patch for authenticity.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Allison falling down the stairs and injuring her leg after being attacked by Michael Myers is similar to Laurie's leg injury after being attacked by Michael upstairs and falling over the railing in the original Halloween. That was a good scene, actually.
That was a good scene of her falling. I mean, it looked pretty realistic too.
Yeah. We discussed this kind of. Various options were discussed regarding how to bring back the character of Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, ranging from voice only to CG, but then they noticed that their construction coordinator, Tom Jones Jr., I don't know if any relation to Tom Jones, bore an uncanny resemblance to the late Pleasance. They added minor makeup effects to his brow and nose to complete the illusion, while Colin Mahan provided the voice.
It's not unusual to shoot Michael from up on the balcony.
Will Patton thought his character was dead in the 2018 film, and Will Patton, I am with you on that. I thought you were done.
I thought 100% he was dead in that one, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of liked it. Let me see. Yes, I definitely wanted to discuss it. Or we did kind of mention this. I did. A group of trick-or-treaters shows Little John and Big John that one of the candies they provided was a blade that cut through one of their mouths. This is a reference to Halloween 2, the Disowned film, where a trick-or-treater, Little Gary, son of Deputy Hunt, with a razor blade stuck in his mouth, is taken to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital right after Laurie arrives. So they circled back 40 years later.
Yep, they tied it back in.
They sure did. Which makes sense because if this was released 40 years later, I mean, you know. Let me see.
We kind of covered this in the last episode about how this falls in the continuity and how it's all fucked up. So
yeah, I'm gonna skip that one. And we talked about the 3 kids and the mask that were brought back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was brought back in this. David Gordon Green, who thinks it's an underrated sequel in the franchise and one that he personally enjoys, and that would be Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Which I agree with him. It is underrated, and I personally enjoy it.
It's one that I can see why people got mad at the time when it didn't have Michael in it. But I mean, going back and looking at it for what it is, it's a really interesting movie that I wish that I could have seen more of that anthology as it played out.
I'm going to die if we rewatch Season of the Witch during Witch Season and I hate it. I don't think I will. But yeah, anyways, the whole cast was enamored. I can't see this. The whole cast was enamored by the font used for the credits. Jamie Lee Curtis asked what it's called. David Gordon Green replies, "It's called Halloween font, but for reference, it's ITC Serif Gothic."
I do like that font. I like how it looks, but I don't know that I would be that crazy over it. You know,
yeah.
I'd be making comments.
The whole cast, I don't buy that, but whatever. This is the 3rd Halloween movie in which Michael is shown to have been burnt in fire. The first time being in the Disowned film, Halloween 2, and Halloween Resurrection, 2002.
Yeah, because they're fighting inside of a place that's on fire, and then Busta Rhymes kicks Michael in the fire. I don't know. It's fucking movie sucks. Whatever.
Yeah. Death Holler Awards. We're gonna roll right into it. Final girl is Allison.
She's not bad.
Yeah.
I like it better. Personally, I like it better in ends. It's more interesting that she goes the other route with it after she's been through this shit, and the town's like treats her like garbage. That she's kind of on the side of like fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I like that a little bit better. But she's pretty good. The actress is good in the role. I don't have any problems with her whatsoever.
I don't either. I like how she's kind of like her mom. She's smarter than her mom, in which she's also trying to lure Michael away, although he still kills her fucking loser of a boyfriend. That kid, they said that he got stabbed in the chest and neck broken. He got put through the ringer. He got dragged through how many fucking stair fucking poles and shit, got pulled up, got pulled down, got his neck twisted off, stabbed. I mean, he would not leave him the fuck alone. You had to think for that kid.
Making him pay for dressing up as Bonnie.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
what he was making him do.
He didn't respect that.
Michael's conservative fella. He just doesn't care for that sort of thing.
Nope, he's a red hat wearing fella right there. And then the I think the mom was the same in the same scene where the mom's like, "Nope, come for me." You know, she takes his mask, but yeah, they're very similar to each other. I feel like the granddaughter is a little bit stronger. The mom was just in denial for so long. I think the leg breaking scene, she did that so good. I think the effects of that worked.
That one I can't really remember, but I'll take your word for it because I don't have any problem with any of that stuff that I can remember whenever it comes to that.
So yeah, that was it. Slasher, Michael Myers. What do we think? I mean, he's clearly the best in this one.
Jason Voorhees.
He lives up to his name. I think he watched a few of the Jason films, and I think he learned a thing or two. You know,
he knows a thing or two because he's been through a thing or two. That's how it is.
Although what was hard for me, and I think you might agree with me, is that he was also fucking brutal in fucking what's his name's Rob Zombie's. And I really liked Rob Zombie's films, by the way. Well, I liked one of them. You're being awful quiet right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that the kills were fucking brutal in Rob Zombie's. Not to mention
they were brutal in that movie. Those movies, they were. Yeah.
I mean, it's Rob Zombie, but he's so fucking big. He's a big motherfucker in that film. So. Yeah, they did good in this one. I mean, he was a smaller, slimmer Michael, which is not something I usually like. That was the opposite of what I liked for fucking Jason Voorhees. I wanted me a thick boy. It was cuffing season, and I was looking for a reason to get with a big boy, and that was Jason. Michael, he shortens up a little bit and slims down, and I'm like, hey, you know?
Yeah, he looks weird in that mechanic's outfit whenever he's a little chunky. It just don't work for him. So
yeah, I think it's a lot better. He works out as a slimmer fella, especially when he needs to move a little bit better. That's just me. Best side character? I didn't have one. Do you have any recommendations?
Why don't you give it to the nice mental guy or whatever that escaped? Give it to him.
We'll give it to him. Yeah, because that was okay, we'll do that because I don't have anything else to give and I don't disagree. So
I definitely agree with your Franklin Award, although we're skipping some things and we'll get back to them. But yes, Karen is a Karen and therefore she deserves a Franklin Award.
Yes, she made some bad choices. She's acting like a Karen. Technically, I feel like she was acting like a Karen more, though, in 2018.
There are scenes where she's getting on the lorry, and I just want to bitch slap her in those scenes.
And not just that, but like when she's like screaming, "Where's my daughter? You guys are on the police force. You need to know where my daughter's at 24/7." Bitch, it's a whole ass fucking town. We're not just looking out just for your daughter. They don't even know that she's a Strode. They may or may not, but like it's not a big deal.
Yeah. She's just too out there. I don't care for it. Getting back to the best kill, you got the mob kill or the firefighter. The Saw is pretty good. I can't disagree with that. I'm going to throw a shout out there, although it wouldn't be my pick necessarily, but shout out honorable mention to the shotgun to the head that he kind of caused to happen in this movie. But still, it should count. It was retconned. That halogen bulb to the fucking throat.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing I remember from this movie that I was like, hell yeah. When I saw that scene, I'm like, the blood as it's running down the inside of the tube and out it's so good. It's such a good scene.
And when he broke it, she was just terrified. Like, although, I guess dumbest moment. I mean, I know that's skipping. I know I have a dumbest moment. I'm not going to say it yet. But there was a dumbest moment. This lady did not know how to unlock her basic locks on her fucking door.
That's true.
That was terrible. I skipped Best Scream. That was Allison. I can't.
Yeah, she's the final girl, so she does most of the screaming in the movie. And Laurie, is out of commission, so it can't be her. And we don't need to give Karen any recognition for anything she does because she's Karen.
Well, she technically gets 2 awards on this, so that's the recognition she gets.
Yeah.
How annoying is the Doom Prophet? Well, it's Lori.
She was kind of the Doom Prophet in 2018.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
She was. And she was annoying in 2018 because she was a drunk.
Yeah.
That was the annoying part of it. And it's like, you're not going to make your point if you're just sitting there fucking guzzling alcohol in front of people. Like you.
And the one scene in 2018 that stands out to me is because Hawkins calls it out, and he's got a good point. She sit there, bold face, tells him, she's like, I prayed for the day that he would escape so that I could kill him. And it's like, this isn't something you should have prayed for. He's killed a bunch of people to try to get back to this town. It's like, even if you wanted him dead, that was a horrible thing to pray for, you know.
You might want to walk that back.
Yeah.
Just saying. Might want to take that down a notch. Let me see.
Dumbest moment.
Dumbest moment. Yeah. Karen entering the Myers home. What the
when
fuck?
She had no reason to go inside that house. And when she did, I mean, just done.
Yep. Slashed, gashed. And now your daughter
put a hole in your ass, you know, that whole thing.
And now your daughter is missing a father and a mother. Way to go, you dumb bitch.
Also, dumbest moment, evil dies tonight for the 28th time. It should have been said like 4 times total in the movie and been done.
No, yeah, they really went with that. Let's make Halloween great again.
Yeah, make Halloween great.
Oh my God. So that was my pick. Thank you for coming along on this ride with me.
All right, we're getting ready to go into mine, but first we need to take a break.
All right.
Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send. Beauty I'd always missed with these eyes before. Just what the truth is, I can't say anymore, 'cause I love you. Yes, I love you.
All right, now for my dark horse entry into this, or should I say my white horse entry into this review. My pick for the next best Halloween movie. I swear I was like, I'm gonna give this one a shot because I hated the fuck out of this when I watched it in the theater. And the director's cut just totally, and it's because I watched all these together. But it was just so different, and it tried so hard to do something completely out there that Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 from 2009 is my next best.
Oh my God, not at all what I expected.
Oh yeah, when you said what, I was like, no, there's no way in fuck you're going to pick that. What I've picked for this.
I would have guessed. If I were to guess a Rob Zombie one, because I almost picked the Rob Zombie Halloween one, the 2007?
Seven, yeah.
I almost picked that one. That one is legit on my list.
I will get into why that wasn't on the list. It came close.
Okay.
It's not an also ran, but it has to be in the contention because obviously it leads into this one. But the things that I don't like about the 2007 one are not in this, and that made this movie the better of the two. and I'll get into what those were in a few minutes.
Whew.
Tagline: Family is forever. Also, they survived the terror, ... but they can't escape their destiny.
Okay, I like it because obviously I'm into the family thing.
Directed by Rob Zombie, written by Rob Zombie, music by Tyler Bates, made for a budget of $15 million. It only grossed $34.9 million. Probably because after people got to watching it in theaters like me, the word of mouth was negative as fuck. And rightfully so. The theatrical cut of this is awful. I'm going entirely off of the unrated director's cut on this review.
Okay.
Principal players: Scout Taylor Compton as Laurie Strode and / Angel Myers, who is our final girl. She was also in Halloween 2007. She was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. She did a voice in that. She was in the movie Captive, Bury the Bride. These are all like independent horror movies she's done in recent years. The Long Night, Starlight, Ghost House, April Fool's Day from the 2008 remake of the movie, and Wicked Little Things. And something about Scout Taylor Compton is she looks okay in these movies, but I don't know if you've seen her in recent years. That girl had a glow up like nobody's business. Like, she is hot.
All right.
Like, so
looking her up right now.
She's really gotten prettier over time. And she's doing a podcast called Talk Horror to Me with one of her castmates, Danielle Harris. So
wow, yeah, she did have a glow up.
Two hotties that are using their hottie horror credentials to make a go of it. So can't really fault them for that.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want to say anything a while ago to give away what I was trying to get at when you was talking about the other really good Michael Myers, his name's Tyler Mane.
Oh my God.
And he's in this film. And I like him better in this than I do in the first movie, because you see Tyler Mane himself in this.
Yeah.
As like this big burly, like almost Hagrid looking motherfucker, like Hagrid from Harry Potter, like the big beard. He's got a little bit of Rob Zombie look to him. He really does, like the big beard and all that stuff. But I like what they did with him in this movie. And I've got him listed as a white trash slasher obsessed with his mother, and he is. But they got the hood on. He puts the mask on and it's tore to shreds, so you're seeing most of his face. And it's fine in this one because, and you see his face throughout most of the movie, but it's fine because this Michael is the Michael that you spent all that time with in 2007, learning how he got to the point that he became the killer that he was.
Yeah.
And one of the reason I like this movie, the reason it really stood out to me, I love the fact that whenever they have the scenes in his subconscious with Deborah Myers, Sherry Moon Zombie, they've got the young Michael always standing in front of Michael to represent visually that the little boy is still in that big monster of a man. Like he's always there.
Yeah, I definitely understood that.
That visual looks, I just love that visual that Zombie threw in it. So Tyler Mane was also recently in Doom Patrol. He was in Victor Crowley with Kane Hodder. The Devil's Rejects, the Scorpion King, and he was also in X-Men. He played, I want to say he played Sabretooth in that one. So
yeah, Rob Zombie, keep this guy. I know when you have a job with Rob Zombie, you almost have a job for life, but this fool is 6'9".
Yeah, he's a beast.
Where was he when we needed a new Jason Voorhees? Because he would have blew fucking Kane Hodder out the water.
He would have blew Ken Kersinger out of the water for sure.
Oh, all of them. Yeah.
Sherry Moon Zombie, of course, as I just said, is playing Deborah Myers, the ghost of the former stripper / mother to the final girl and the slasher. It's not a bad role for Sherry Moon Zombie. I know people give her shit. She's in all Rob's movies. I personally prefer in Lords of Salem because I think that's a better role for her. But she does a damn good job in these movies, like being both like the white trash stripper, which kind of because she kind of does that for Rob's shows, so that kind of fits in. But her motherly instincts coming through for both kids, because they changed them between movies. It's the one in this one's a little bit more. I don't know, the kid's kind of off-putting in the first movie, but in this one, he's a little bit more. There's something about the way he looks, a little softer in the face.
Yes.
He's not more as much of a white trash thug in this one. So
yeah, he's a little slimmer, but they had to change the characters because the other one got too tall, and he is super tall now.
Yeah, he really grew, and he tries to rap now too. That's the whole thing. But,
okay.
But the scenes where Sherry Moon Zombie's like talking to him, especially like in the flashback scenes at the beginning of this movie where she's in the Smith's Grove or whatever, and she brought him the white horse, and she's spending time with him. She does a good job showing that as she's cares for her son, even though he's this monster that killed her other kid, and and her dirt bag of a boyfriend that she was shacking up with that was a piece of shit. Are
you talking about in the visions when she comes to him?
In the visions too, but there is a flashback, and it might only be in the producer's cut. I mean, in the director's cut, but there is a scene in this where Rob Zombie cuts back and he shows her on a snowy day, like coming back to the sanitarium, and she's there, and she's brought the horse for Michael, and she sees that he's slipping away, and she's trying to bring some of her boy back out, and it's a pretty good little scene at the beginning of the movie. Anyway, she's also in Halloween 2009, Lords of Salem, Rob Zombie's Monsters, 31, the Firefly trilogy, and then, of course, Rob Zombie and White Zombie music videos. She's, quite a looker in most of those videos, by the way. Chase Wright Vanek plays young Michael, the ghost representation of Michael's innocence in the movie. Again, I really like Rob worked that in. I like how it looks. My favorite part of the movie, and the reason this put this over, I swear to you, when I told you that bits and pieces are what saved or made the cuts. Brad Dourif as Sheriff Lee Brackett in this movie. If you watch this movie and you see that scene where he's crying over Annie's dead body and the way that he breaks up, and you don't get moved emotionally, you're fucking dead inside. I don't know what to tell you.
I loved Brad Dourif in both of these films so much, and it's so hard not to hear Chucky when you hear him talk.
It is, but he does play a different character in this, and he's so likable in this movie.
Yes, he is. He's an amazing actor. He's a voice actor in Chucky. At the end of the day, that's what he is. But in these films, he's an actual actor, and he's amazing.
And I'm not going to go into all the movies he's in. We covered him a million times on the Chucky's things, but he is what put this movie over for me, because he's in the first one, don't get me wrong, but he has so many more scenes in this movie, and he has so many more emotional, really pivotal. Whenever he's sitting there just reading the novel that Loomis has written and sees that Loomis has revealed, Laurie's ties to Michael, and he gets so pissed, the look, just everything that Brad Dourif does in this movie is amazing. It's a shame that this movie's so hated, because when I went back and watched it, I so much appreciated what he did in this.
Yeah.
Margot Kidder's in it, playing Barbara Collier, the therapist. Of course, Margot Kidder, Black Christmas. She was Barb in that, smoker and drinker through the whole movie. She was in the Amityville Horror in 1979. Also in all the Superman movies as Lois Lane. So kind of crazy that the cast that Rob Zombie got for this movie is insane.
Yeah, he did good with the cast.
I was always like, I know that person, through the whole movie. Howard Hessman plays Uncle Meat, the coffee shop music store proprietor. If you're of a certain age, he was WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh my God.
He was the one radio DJ on that show that had all the charisma and stood out. And he was also head of the class in Police Academy too. That guy, just every time he's in a scene, just, immediately drawn to him. Dayton Colley plays Alan Hooks, the coroner. He was in Deadwood. I knew I saw him from somewhere. Whenever I got to looking this up, I was like, yeah, he was in Deadwood. I remember the character he was playing in it. He was also in Sons of Anarchy, Fear the Walking Dead, Abattoir, The Devil's Carnival, and then Left 4 Dead 2, the video game. He was a voice actor in that.
Fuck that game.
Richard Brake plays Gary Scott, the coroner and the sick freak at the beginning of it, talking about how Linda Vanderklok's body got him horny whenever he was like loading her onto the stretcher or into the body bag.
Yeah.
He is a character actor that you've seen in a ton of stuff. He was the bad guy in Barbarian, you know, the sick old fuck that was at the end of the movie that got his that's Richard Brake.
I recognized him right away. Yeah.
31, he's the Mr. Doom. He's like one of the best parts in that movie, if you want to say that there's a good part in that. Rob Zombie's Monsters, he was in that. I think he played the Nosferatu vampire in that one. He was in Mandy. He was in Supernatural for an episode. He was the Night King on Games of Thrones, the undead, you know,
that's fucking
ice
wild.
monster.
Yeah.
And he was also in Hannibal Rising. Octavia Spencer plays Octavia Daniels, the nurse that's in kind of it's a dream sequence, kinda that they do at the beginning of the movie. That scene, I don't know how you don't like that scene. You're all about kills. Like he is like the blood that's everywhere, the way that he kills her. And maybe you didn't see this in the unrated. I don't know which version you saw this movie when you rewatched it, or if you rewatched it. There is a scene where she's going through the hospital. It's kind of imitating Halloween 2 in a little bit.
Yeah.
In the sense that she's like limping through there, and she's far worse off than the Laurie in the original movie. Her head's really done in. She's got a severe headache. Her foot's broke. She's limping through there. Michael's behind her, this big monster of a Michael Myers. And there's blood. Every nurse that she sees is just total blood, like everywhere. One of them's face is like smashed into like one of the stairwell razors or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
She gets down and she's trying to get away from him, and he has shoved like 15 to 20 of the hospital staff's dead bodies into a like garbage bin, and she has to try to cross over, but she slips and falls, and she's in with all the dead bodies, and she's trying to crawl out. Like that whole scene.
So I didn't see that for sure.
That's it. You need to watch the unrated. I'm telling you, it's so good. Like it is so good.
That would have added a whole new thing. But yeah, no, she leaves the hospital. I did see the nurse that was dead on the stairwell. She gets out. She gets to that house. Buddy fucking dies a horrific death.
Yeah. Buddy gets like slammed up against, I think, the door to his own like little shack, and then of course it gets. But it's all a scene to represent that she's now suffering these traumatic dreams.
Yes.
From her PTSD, which makes total sense to me. You wouldn't go through all this, and they bring it up in 2018. I mean, that Laurie has PTSD as well, but you know, I think he did a good job representing that with this one in his version. Of course, Octavia Spencer is Ma. I didn't like that movie, but she's in that horror movie. The Shape of Water, Bad Santa 2, Snowpiercer, Drag Me to Hell, and the movie Pulse. Richard Reel plays Buddy, the night watchman that we just talked about, security guard. He's the dude from Office Space, talking about how he's going to make the jump to conclusions, Matt. He's been in a bunch of comedies, but he's also in Hatchet. He plays like this old tourist that's going on the ride in Hatchet or whatever, whenever Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley comes and rips him to shreds or whatever. Mark Boone Jr. plays Floyd, the redneck asshole that like wants Michael off of his property.
Oh yeah.
He's in Batman Begins, Too Fast, Too Furious, Memento, 30 Days of Night, Ghost House, American Satan, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, John Carpenter's Vampires movie, and then also the movie Seven. So he's been in a ton of horror related stuff. Dwayne Whitaker plays Sherman Benny, who's the husband of Jasleen. From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Takes Blood Money, Feast, Pulp Fiction, 3 from Hell, The Devil's Rejects. If Rob Zombie, he's one of those directors, if you do good with him, he'll keep you in a lot of his other shit.
You got a job for life.
Leatherface takes Chainsaw Massacre 3, so he's been in a ton of stuff. Betsy Rue plays Jasleen Benny. She's the only Benny worth a damn because between Floyd and Sherman, she's the only one that cares that they're beating up this just monster of a homeless man, but that doesn't work out for her too well.
It's all for naught. She's sorry, but he ain't.
You will recognize Betsy Rue as the blonde or naked lot lizard who gets chased around the parking lot in My Bloody Valentine 3D. She's that chick. You remember that scene?
Oh,
she's
yeah.
running,
Okay.
yeah,
I didn't know that was her.
Yeah. Jeff Daniel Phillips plays Howard Boggs, and Uncle Seymour Coffins, who's the strip club bouncer, Howard Boggs, and then the Halloween party MC as Uncle Seymour Coffins. He is, of course, Herman Munster in the new Rob Zombie Monsters.
Yeah.
You know, 3 from Hell, Satanic Panic, 31, Lord of Salem, a lot of Rob Zombie stuff. Daniel Roebuck, who plays, Grandpa Munster, is also in this movie as Louis Big Lou Martini, who's the strip club owner. Ton of stuff for him as well. Also Bubba Hotep, which was kind of interesting. And John Dies Then, which I think,
yes.
Don't you like that movie quite a bit?
I do. I actually rewatched it very recently, like a couple weeks ago.
Sylvia Jeffries plays Misty Dawn, who's Big Lou's favorite girl. She's in Piranha 3 Double D and 3 from Hell.
3 is a good number for her. Yeah. Okay.
Matt Bush plays Wolfie, the awkward kid with no game. He hooks up with a hot goth chick, and the best he can do is kind of awkwardly say, I got to go piss, and then he gets slammed up against a tree.
Dumbass. So, Noah said, by the way, her costume was a good costume for a girl to do for Halloween.
Oh, being the
Transylvania transvestite.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenfurter or whatever. Yeah. I've got that in the notes, or in the notes too, the quote. I love what she says back and forth between her and Wolfie about is she packing or not downstairs. I've got that in there. He was also in Piranha 3 Double D. Angela Trimber plays Harley David, the one I was talking about, the goth bad girl. She likes to get freaky, and she's not above golden showers, according to her own what she says. We will see her again here soon, because she does play the dumb hot chick in the Final Girls.
Oh boy.
Because I knew I saw her from somewhere whenever I first saw her pop up in the movie. Greg Travis plays Deputy Andy Neal, Annie's shitty police protection. Bree Grant plays Maya Rockwell, Laurie's new friend and co-worker. She's actually a director of a bunch of horror movies.
Wow.
But also she's the star. She's in the Stylist, After Midnight, A Ghost Story, and Heroes. She was in 17 episodes of that. Danielle Harris, back as Annie Brackett. Laurie's former BFF. I say former. She's still friends, but they've had, and I like that aspect of the movie too, because the fact that Laurie has gone down this dark path, and that and Annie's went through the same shit kinda, but like, Laurie acts like she doesn't know what she's talking about. I could see how that would cause a friction between the two of them. I mean, it's like, you don't know what I'm going through. It's like, bitch, I just nearly died. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
She's also Sheriff Brackett's daughter. That whole scene at the end, I mean, with him, way better than the scene in Halloween 2, like the original Halloween 2. Like seeing Brad Dourif, like when he sees his daughter, like, oh my God, just in his eyes sell the whole thing, if nothing else.
Yeah.
She's, of course, Jamie Lloyd in Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. She was in Natty Knox, like I said, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, Urban Legend, Dr. Gift, Hatchet 2 and 3, Victor Crowley. She's a voice in Night of the Living Dead, Darkest Dawn. She's voice of Barbara in that.
Wow.
She was in Stakeland, and of course Halloween 2007, and an episode of Erie, Indiana, which was a pretty cool show.
I'm glad she did good for herself, because she, in 4 and 5, she was those movies basically.
She was. Sean Whalen plays Bex, the Good Samaritan driver at the wrong place, wrong time. You remember him as Roach from The People Under the Stairs.
I remember
Have you ever
Roach.
seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah. He was also in Twister, a little independent movie recently called Headless Horseman, 3 from Hell, Hatchet 3, Waterworld, and Batman Returns. Malcolm McDowell, pretty big name. He's stepping in the role of Dr. Samuel Loomis in these 2 movies. In this one, he's a fame-seeking whore, and like, he really is despicable.
Yeah.
He was in Clockwork Orange, did a voice on Castlevania the cartoon that's on Netflix. It was in episodes of Community. He was in 31. He was in the 2012 Silent Night remake. He was in Silent Hill Revelation, Class of 99, and in Cat People. So he's got some horror bona fides. synopsis, and I don't think I made this funny at all just because this movie ain't funny. It ain't. Like, it's very dark.
It gets
like,
real serious.
Picks up the night after 2007 Halloween film showing how Michael's body was lost en route to the morgue. We then skip ahead 1 year and see the aftermath of his rampage. Laurie is suffering from PTSD and terrible nightmares. Sheriff Brackett and his daughter Annie are doing their best to take care of Laurie while also tending to their own wounds and trauma. And Dr. Loomis has let his newfound fame go to his head, writing a tell-all book that throws everyone under the proverbial bus. Has Deborah Myers really returned from the dead to order her wayward son to reunite the family? And why does it require the taking of lives to accomplish? Michael is a giant hermit with mommy issues. Laurie is cracking and seemingly suffering her brother's demented delusions. And Dr. Loomis is pissing everyone off.
Yep. I mean, in a nutshell, can you refresh me what happened with Brackett and his daughter? What trauma are they trying to get over from the first film?
She was cut up really bad, and like he was and the fact that he nearly lost his daughter in the first movie.
Okay, so she was the one at the bottom of the stairs that was found naked and half alive.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I was confusing. Look, when they're covered in blood, I start getting them all mixed up. So basically,
you're talking about covered in blood. I don't know if it's in the theatrical, but the blood in the scene in this movie after he gets through with her,
it's everywhere in the film I watched.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And I mean, he basically finds her in the same condition again, only way more blood, and she ain't alive.
She's bled out because she dies in Laurie's arms, which is even worse because Laurie, she's kind of been shitty to Annie the entire movie. And so when she loses her, I mean, it's tough. I mean, and Scout Taylor Compton does a really good job selling that scene too, by the way. Body count is 20, so not too far behind your Halloween kills. So pretty close. 25 not counted. Coroner Alan Hooks has his head destroyed in a car crash with a cow, and that's a really gross scene.
Yeah.
The effects in this movie are out there. I mean, they're good. Coroner Gary Scott is decapitated with glass from the car crash. Nurse Octavia Daniels is stabbed at least 11 times in the back with a knife. Unnamed nurse has her eyes gouged out and her head bashed in. That's the one that we're talking about. It's on the stairwell.
Yes.
Buddy is hacked in the back with a fire axe. Floyd is impaled on deer antlers.
Love it.
And that's a cool scene. Sherman Benny has his eyes slit and stabbed 5 times. Him getting his eyes cut is pretty gross. Jasleen Benny is stabbed 5 times in the chest with a knife. Howard Boggs has choke slammed and has his skull crushed after 5 stomps. That is a gross thing.
I loved it.
Lou Martini has his arm broken, head smashed against the wall.
Yeah, his walking around with his broken arm. Yeah.
Misty Dawn, you talk that whenever you was talking about wall bashing, I was like, I had to laugh because this is the epitome of it.
Yeah.
Her head is bashed against the glass wall 11 times.
Yep.
Wolfie is stabbed in the back while peeing. Harley David is strangled after she requests the golden shower. Deputy Andy Neal has his neck snapped. Maya Rockwell is stabbed 4 times in the chest with a knife. Annie Brackett dies from wounds sustained by vicious multiple knife attacks. The Good Samaritan driver is thrown through his own windshield. Samuel Loomis is stabbed in the gut, and at least in the version I watched, has his head slashed several times, I think, in the other one. I like it better in this one. He literally is standing there in front of Michael, and he just gets a big stab right in the gut, lifted off the ground, and then drops, I'm
thinking that I saw that, but I'm not 100.
And then Michael Myers is shot 2 times, impaled on farm equipment, stabbed 10 times, shot to death by the police officers in the unrated cut, which I watched. And then in the unrated cut, Laurie Strode is shot to death by the police at the end of the movie because she picks up the knife and she goes to use it on Loomis, and they shoot her. And then Brackett has told them to stand down. Somebody didn't listen, and they get a couple shots off and kill Laurie, and that's how the movie ends.
Wait, she went to use it on Loomis, but Loomis already died in the...
He's stabbed at that point, and she's going to cut him. She's going to stab him because she snapped at that point.
Okay.
And then even though Brackett has told him to stand down, somebody shoots her anyways. And then we have the scene of her and I'm assuming this is to represent her dying. She's in this long white hallway, and she
Oh.
sees Deborah. She sees Deborah appear with a horse, and that's how it ends.
Yeah,
you know?
I saw that part.
Non-counted deaths. There's the cow that was run over. The very nasty looking scene with the cow. Alice Martin has her arms and legs slashed, and then she's stabbed 3 times in the throat with a knife. But that's a deleted scene. It's not in the movie or in the unrated one. Ivan the dog, who belonged to Floyd and the rest of the Bennies. He substitutes for the dog that was in the first movie that went to the Myers house, because not only is he killed off screen, but you see in the unrated cut, especially, you see Michael Meyer cut into his body and then pull his heart out and eat the heart. Ned Atkins has his throat slit in the deleted scene, and then Specs has his fate unknown. He was possibly killed by Michael. Quotes: Laurie Strode yelling outside her house drunk, "Hey world, guess what? I'm Michael Myers' sister. I'm so fucked."
I thought that was so dumb.
Well, she's drunk, so I mean, but like I like it just because because that news is out there. I mean, even if she wanted a normal life, she's never going to have it.
Oh yeah.
Mark to Michael: Are you a giant? Can we be friends?
Yeah, I liked that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, cracked me up. Wolfie: What are you supposed to be, a sexy vampire? And then Harley: I'm a chick who's dressed as a dude who wants to be a chick. Wolfie: But you're a chick though, right? And then Harley's like, why don't you put your hands down my pants and find out, Wolfman? And then Wolfie says, at this point, I don't really care, but seriously, you have a vagina.
Yeah.
Wolfie, after making out with Harley: I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. And Harley's like, where the fuck are you going? And then Wolfie's like, I got to take a piss. I've been having to pee since I got here. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And Harley David said, so who says I wasn't into water sports?
Yeah.
Little golden shower. And then Wolfie's like, that's gross. You're tripping. And then Weird Al Yankovic, who's also in this movie. I'm a little confused. Are we talking about Austin Powers, Mike Myers, or is this someone else?
Which is weird because I don't understand the timeline in this film.
I think it's supposed to take place like now, basically.
I guess so, but it seemed very...
I think he grew... him as a child was in the 80s, and then it's supposed to be like, you jump ahead or something like that, or close to it,
Yeah.
Maybe the 90s, but it's like somewhere in that range,
Okay.
Deborah Myers: We're done waiting. Only a river of blood can bring us back together. It's up to you. It's always been up to you, Michael. And then Dr. Samuel Loomis: I'm selling the sizzle, not the steak.
That was the dumbest.
Because he's a scumbag.
Yeah. Also, there was a quote that said, it was basically, what's her name? Deborah Myers letting Michael Myers know, I'm in your fucking head. Because she told him straight up, I was never here. You already know that, Michael.
I don't know that was in the version I watched, to be perfectly honest with you.
Which basically indicates that she's basically a figment of his imagination. And why wouldn't she be?
Yeah, I don't think they show that in this version, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But
okay.
I don't if it's in there, it's such a blink and you miss it type thing that I just glanced over it. Visuals. This movie, there's several things that Rob Zombie does in this movie that I like. Like I said, I like the scenes where she's talking to him. She's in a white gown. Young Michael is standing in his place, taking the orders as he's standing there, just kind of like stoically, like it's like he's outside of his own body at that point. I like that. The scene where there's several shots that he does that are very artistic. Like there's this one scene where it shows like the shack that Michael's been living in, and then it's a moonlit night, and you see just you see Sherry Moon Zombie like in that white gown, like a ghost, like gliding through the field, like going toward the shack or whatever. It's just like it's got that lady in white, like the ghostly thing going on. The scene where like some of the nightmare scenes that he has, like it reminds me of like Rob Zombie's music videos. I mean, which could be bad for some people, but he's very artistic when it comes to like the designs for the creatures in those scenes or whatever. And I don't know if that's in the version you saw, but it's like he's got like one scene where it looks like these Halloween goblins are like all at a table, and then like Laurie dreams that she's there, and like she's and then she's on, and then she sees herself on the table, and then Michael's hands are reaching up to grab her or something from below. Like there's one scene in the movie like that. Do you remember that scene at all?
Yeah, but I thought there was multiple hands reaching up. Is this
there was multiple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I did see that.
The scene at the another Rob Zombie thing, but the Halloween party has a lot of like creatures and stuff that like look like Rob Zombie, type creatures that he would have in his music videos, especially like the big pumpkin-headed creature that's outside.
I don't remember the pumpkin-headed creature, but that might have been on yours.
Yeah, it's just like outside. It's just like this big. It's like a statue, or like that kind of moves or whatever outside. I love the way that he shoots the scenes with Brackett, and that whenever he's like Lost Annie. I love the scenes, like I said, that snowy scene at the beginning, and he's like between the way that he filmed it back and forth between Sherry Moon Zombie and the new kid that's playing Michael. The scene at the beginning of the movie, now that I'm thinking about it, just her walking down that street, the rain coming down, she's got that just like 50-yard stare look in her eyes, and then Brackett pulls up behind her, and he's like running up, and he's like, Laurie, and like he's trying to just the way that she looks walking up there's a lot of stuff that he does in this movie like that, and I think he's visually he's done both these movies actually, but like this one he went, because he didn't give a fuck at this point. He's like, this is the last one I'm going to make. I'm going to do what I want to do. I think he attempted more things visually in this movie than he did in the first one.
I'm amazed that as a character, Brackett was doing so much for Laurie, because she's kind of the reason his daughter won. Before she dies, she's the reason that her daughter got slashed.
She is, but I think he knows it's not her fault.
Yeah.
But and she doesn't have any parents, remember? In this version, Michael kills everybody.
Yes, I'm aware. Well, and the mom, killed herself and everything, and then he kills her fucking foster parents, which...
Well, that's what I'm talking about, the foster parents.
Yeah.
Like and unlike in the original where the dad just fucks off and you never see him again, like, the OG 78 version, in this one, like Michael comes in and he kills all the Strodes, like every single one of them.
Yeah.
I know the visuals for the White Horse, I get it, and they are kind of dumb, and Rob Zombie's reason for using that isn't the best. He just wanted something to look visually cool to kind of represent like Michael's rage and like like his essence, but whatever, he tried something. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I thought at first the White Horse, that shit was cool. It was the 5th or 6th or 7th time of seeing the same shit over and over that it was like, we fucking get it. They see the White Horse. The White Horse is carrying you to your fucking madness. I don't know. It was so cool the first time or two, and then it just became so repetitive.
It's the same thing as Evil Dies Tonight. It literally is.
It is.
Like it works the same way. It's overused. 100%.
And I'll tell you what, the White Horse and Sherry Moon Zombie are what fucking took me out of this movie. Like I said, first time or two, maybe even 3 times, especially for Sherry Moon, because it did make sense when little Michael was there. But having her there nonstop, I was fucking over it. I was like, dude, we get it. You want your wife in the fucking movie.
Well, there's that, but to me, I do like, and I mean, I don't know, it's just because, like I said, it was a little bit different. It didn't follow the same pattern as some of the rest of them. I like the fact that it was like he was working in that Michael is so, I mean, the only 2 people in his life that Michael cared about was his mother and his baby sister.
Yes.
And, he's in his twisted mind, after his mother killed herself, because that's what happens in the first movie, in his twisted mind, his mother, basically was, would come to him and tell him that he needed to basically bring the family together and that sort of thing. So it would make sense to me that she would be the one to appear, because she's the only like authority figure that he ever had that he cared about, you know.
Yeah, it was just the scene started getting a bit much. I guess it worked in one scene that it was Lori's dream. Like, I get that. That was kind of cool. And then I do understand Lori seeing her. Like, that makes sense to me because of the family dynamic. This is why I like the family dynamic. They all have something in them, maybe that makes them a little crazy, or something it's in their blood. Blood in the body.
Body in the blood. I'll tell you the reason why I didn't pick 2007, and this is the reason, because I knew I said I'd tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it's fine, but the redneck stuff at the beginning of that movie before Michael gets it grates on me so bad, because it's like, okay, you know, zombie, I've seen this in, you know, House of a Thousand Corpses. I've seen this in Devil's Rejects. I've seen this in 31. I've seen this in every fucking movie you've done. This doesn't fit what you're trying to do. And the reason I like this movie better is that it removes that redneckish angle from the movie. It's like it focuses just on, like, you know, the main principal characters, Annie, Sheriff Brackett, Loomis, and Michael and Laurie. I mean, like it focuses more on them, and you don't have, I mean, you have some of the redneckish characters in the periphery, but they're not like, I mean, you were so long with those characters in that first movie. Like, I was like, okay, the scummy, like, boyfriend of Sherry Moon Zombie, like he grates on me so bad. Like, I mean, and maybe it's because I've seen that type character, or maybe it's a little stereotypical, but when I watch that movie, that knocks that movie down so much for me. And it really is just a alternate take, although I do like it, of the first movie. Like, it really, I mean, it doesn't really do anything dramatically different than the first movie.
In terms of the first, you know, Rob Zombie Halloween, which was 2007, I will say this. That was the second Rob Zombie film I had ever seen. And prior to that, the first film was The Munsters. Not seen any Rob Zombie film. So I can't compare, which I'm not going to I'm not going to take away the fact that I could totally see the redneckness bothering you, especially because you've seen it in every other film. I think that's the only reason it didn't bother me. And it also it made it make sense why Michael was so fucked up. I mean, you got not even a stepdad. You have a mom's boyfriend that is no good for nothing loser, flirting with the fucking daughter. That was fucking disgusting.
That was gross, and she wasn't really turning him down either. Not really.
Yeah, I mean, mistreating the mom who he adores, mistreating the baby who adores, if not as much as his mom, even more. You know. And those are the kind of fucked up lives you hear about. I mean, it's like hearing, you know, a gang member and how they grew up, you know, and how fucked up their lives are. And it's like, you could get away from this. And it's like, nope, I choose the badness, you know?
And I don't hate that part of it. It's just that there's certain, he takes it to such a degree that it almost becomes comical. And that's what takes me out of the movie.
Yeah. I also think it builds a stronger case for Sherry Moon, though, because she's so fucking redneck hillbilly, but in an instant, she's a mom more than anything, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And those scenes, I'll say this, those scenes in that first movie where she's like, you know, where she sees him and she's like, you know, right before he's going out for Halloween, and she's like making sure that, you know, that she's giving him her attention and that she's focusing on him. There's real motherly thing that comes through in those scenes.
I mean, even in the scene where she's watching movies of them when, you know, he was little and everything, and then she shoots herself, like, that was some powerful shit.
Yeah, it's, I mean, and I don't have anything against that. It's just between Brad Dourif's, like, I mean, being more in this movie and the fact that he is so good in this, the different take on Loomis, where Loomis isn't like because he still is the savior in the first movie. He's not as good of one as Donald Pleasant's version, but he's still the savior in the first movie. The fact they went the other route with him in this one and made him a scumbag, kind of, I mean, but not the same kind of, I don't like the Doctor in 2018, the one that took over for Loomis.
Yeah.
because his motivation is in that movie he wants to get what really makes Michael tick. So he even tries to kill Lee Hawkins in that movie. The Loomis in this one, I mean, given the fact we got that one doctor on the one end and we got Loomis on the other, I like the fact that he's somewhere in the middle. He at the end, he does try to go and try to redeem himself and dies in the process. But throughout most of the movie, he's all about just selling the book and trying to, get famous and all that. So I like that angle in this one a little bit better than the 2007 one.
It's a good angle, and actually I'm surprised that didn't throw me off because Loomis was getting on my goddamn nerves, but not any more than Pooh Bear Loomis. But like I said, the Sherry Moon Zombie one too many times, that threw me off. The only thing I can honestly say that I really liked about this film was Brad Dourif. He, to me, was the film.
He does make the film, and he was the one that just made me decide. I was like, okay, I want to pick this just because, if nothing, I liked several things about the movie, but like he was the one thing that set me, to that, side, and I'm just like, okay, I wavered between two other films, and I'll get to them here in a minute, but like this one was that he just tipped it over. I was like, when I saw him with Annie, I'm like, I have to give this man credit for this scene, if nothing else. You know? Story, it's whatever you want to. I mean, I could see the argument. The visually, though, I've already argued my points on that. Story, it's not to me, it's not that. I mean, I like what he tried to do with it. And here's the thing, if the studio hadn't fucked him over and pushed back the movie by a month, saying he had to wrap it up quicker than he was going to, and he had to tear out most of his script that he had already written.
Yeah.
He was going to make it to where it was all in Laurie's head, that she saw Michael the entire time.
And you know what? I would have absolutely loved that more than what we did. In fact, Noah said it over. Is it her? Is it her? Is she the one? And I was like, I really can't tell.
That's why she was able to see Deborah. That's why she was able to see the same nightmares that Michael was having, is because in his ultimate version of this movie, she was the killer the entire time.
Yeah, I would have. I don't know that it still would have been my pick of film, but it would have been high up there. A lot higher than where it is now. I did not like this film.
And a lot of people don't upon first viewing, so I can understand that.
This was my first time watching it, too, so.
And I will say this. I hated it in the theater. I've already said this, but I did. I hated the fuck out of this movie. I just did. I got out of it, and I was like, what the fuck was that? What was the deal with the white horse? Why the fuck? What did I even see, you know? But going back and watching the unrated director's cut of it, it filled in some things, and I appreciated it for what it actually tried to do, even if it didn't quite, grab them or whatever in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Acting, Brad Dourif. Like, I mean,
oh my God.
Like you can, I mean, Danielle Harris is great in this movie.
Yes.
Like, I like how she portrays Annie. Scout Taylor Compton is great in both of them, like as far as what she does. And then a lot of the characters, a lot of the side characters, a little goofy, a little Rob Zombie-ish, but I mean, they add to they're memorable. I'll give them that, if nothing else. Like they're not just like Friday Part 7 where I couldn't, or the nurses in Halloween 2. I couldn't name, I can name these characters because they did stand out, every single one of them.
I did like Michael Myers' nomadic lifestyle too. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. The actor doesn't have to do much acting, but holy fuck, can he walk Michael Myers like a motherfucker. And it's so funny because people recognize him simply because one old lady said, "Oh, you walk like Michael Myers." Oh
yeah. I visually, I think that Tyler Mane he's awesome in this movie. He really is, as far as Michael goes. He doesn't have the mask on the entire time, and some people hate that. But I think that, considering this is a more personable, humanized Michael, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah,
I can forgive it in this. Unlike H2O, which had the eyes and all that peeking through, and it shouldn't have, because it's supposed to be the same Michael from the OG when it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I don't like H2O, and I told you that as a spoiler, but I thought it was okay at best whenever I saw it in the theater back in the 1998 when I saw it.
Yeah.
Upon rewatching it, I think it's pretty subpar.
I think it's terrible. The
Yeah.
storyline is holy fuck. The acting, the writing for the kids. The kids are so fucking useless in this film.
They do nothing but run around and get killed. I
Yeah.
mean, I've heard it called Halloween Scream Edition, and that's basically what it tried to be.
Oh God, and it did a horrible job at that too.
Yeah. Even Jamie Lee Curtis is terribly used in H2O. Like, she's
Yeah.
awful in that movie.
I mean, she's a little bit more the Laurie Strode we're looking for. She wants to live, but yeah, I wasn't buying what they were selling.
But I was when I watched it, I was like, holy shit, is this aged terribly for me? Like,
I will say this, at least I made it through the entirety of H2O. I could not make it more than 20 minutes into Resurrection.
well, you're lucky you didn't try watching any more than that. And to be honest, I've not tried watching it all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck that. This movie ain't worth shit.
And I
No,
feel
it's
bad
not.
because I hear that Busta Rhymes is actually a really good actor.
He ain't that. So
Yeah.
And then music. Rob Zombie is pretty good at picking music for his movies in both 2007, whatever you want to say about 2009. It's got some good music in it. Like, I mean, the only the only one that's a little bit weird is The Love Hurts.
I thought that was cool when she was stripping.
Well, and I like it better in this one because it's played as at the very end in that white room as Laurie is dying. The Love Hurts as she's got that evil, like, Michael look on her face.
Is she dying, or is she just also seeing things in her head like Michael saw?
Well, that's debated. To me, in the unrated, she clearly gets shot and it looks like she's dying. But I mean, there could have been an argument the other way.
Okay. Yeah, to me, what I saw, she didn't appear to be dying.
Oh yeah. So, but consequently, that was the outro I was going to send you, was The Love Hurts, because it's the one song that connects the two Rob Zombie movies quite a bit. So, trivia. John Carpenter was offered a cameo in the film by Rob Zombie, but he turned it down. First Halloween movie to include Michael clearly walking around without his mask on.
Yes.
Which I do like. Due to his miserable experience working with the Weinsteins on these Halloween films, Rob Zombie has disowned them, especially this one in particular, which according to him had the worst studio interference. There was a 4-hour documentary about at least the first one, but I started to listen to the director's cut of this, and oh my God, you can hear the passive aggressive hatred that Rob Zombie has when he's doing the review for this.
Damn.
And it's not for the film, it's for everything around it, because he's got that scene where they're wheeling in Laurie to the hospital, and he's like, this right here is the first of our many fucking problems we had on this movie. That's how he starts the commentary. I'm like, okay, he's going to be in a mood in this one. Dag Fark, wild name, filmed scenes reprising his role of young Michael Myers, but was replaced and the scenes reshot after it became apparent that he had noticeably grown up since the last installment and no longer looked the same age.
That sucks.
I like the kid better in this one, though. I really do.
Yeah.
When Rob Zombie had to have a few days worth of footage shipped off for developing at the start of production, the film canisters were accidentally x-rayed by airport security, ruining the film reels and forcing several days worth of reshoots that he really didn't have time to even do.
Oh, fuck. Those dumb motherfuckers.
Production for the film was very troubled. Rob Zombie frequently clashed with the Weinsteins, who were difficult to work with. One egregious interference was when the 2 weeks of shooting was slashed from the schedule on the first day of filming, forcing Rob Zombie to tear out pages of the script that he would not be able to film otherwise.
That sucks.
Malcolm McDowell quotes Alex DeLarge, the character he played in Clockwork Orange, during the press conference when he says, "Let's get things nice and sparkling clear." And he says it in that very, hateful tone to him. Rob Zombie originally stated that he would never do a sequel to Halloween 2007 until the studio decided to make it. Then he signed on to write and direct because he didn't want someone else to ruin his vision of the movies, which is respectable, but the studio still ruined his vision in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
Weird Al Yankovic's only condition to appear in the film was that he got to pick his own clothes.
Which clearly shows.
Yeah, they're very wild and out there, just like he is. First Rob Zombie movie not to feature zombie regular Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, and Tom Towles. Sid Haig is the cemetery caretaker in the first movie, though, so
Okay.
he's in 2007. The decision to give Laurie the name Angel as a real name was meant to emphasize her as an extreme opposite to Michael.
It didn't work.
Laurie Strode's birth name in the original films was Cynthia Myers before she became Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
Carolyn Williams cameos in the films as Dr. Maple, one of the surgeons mending Laura's injuries in the operating room. She is obviously the woman who played the final girl Stretch in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Rob Zombie is a fan of the franchise and asked her to appear in this film. The characterization of Dr. Loomis as a greedy, unlikable egotist was Malcolm McDowell's idea. He told Rob Zombie he didn't want to give the same performance as he did in the first film, which is, it works. I kind of like that it's different. While writing with Sam Loomis for the sequel, Rob Zombie based his egotistical and self-absorbed personality on Dr. Phil.
Oh, dirty.
Rob Zombie was not comfortable shooting the first Halloween in a 2:39:1 aspect ratio, as he was used to the flat 185:1 frame that had accompanied his previous films. For this film, he chose to shoot the entire picture in 16 millimeter rather than traditional 35, and he returned to his preferred 185:1 aspect ratio. It does have a very different look than the first movie because of that. Tyler Mane is only the second actor to play Michael Myers twice. George P. Wilbur previously played Michael in Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. And Mane, or actually Halloween 6, I guess is what he was in. And then Mane is the first actor to portray Myers 2 movies in a row before Jude Courtney did it in the new ones. In addition to the studio interference that compromised production, Rob Zombie also strongly suspected that crew members were actually stealing money from the film's production budget.
Oh, shit.
Character actor Richard Brake garnered the role as the coroner's assistant Gary Scott based upon a personal recommendation of Rob Zombie from Sid Haig. This led to Brake being cast as Doomhead in Zombies 31 and as Winslow Foxworth Coltrane in 3 from Hell. The film was originally scheduled to be appropriately released on Halloween of 2009 to capitalize on the holiday, but before the film was abruptly pushed forward 2 months ahead of time in August for the theatrical release. This compromised post-production schedule as it sliced a few weeks out of the editor's schedule, not giving them enough time to edit the film properly. So not only he had the actual filming rushed, but he had the production rushed on the back end. So they fucked him all the way around on this movie.
Yeah.
At around 1 hour and 5 minutes, when Laurie and her friends arrive at the concert, the band is playing a song called Terror Train. Terror Train 1980 is the name of the horror movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis, the original Laurie Strode. Bill Moseley was actually scheduled to appear in the film as a bouncer at the strip club, but he could only work for a day. The studio interference caused him to quit the shoot and leave. This forced Rob Zombie forced him to scramble to hire a replacement actor quickly. Even though there was no time to hold auditions for the recast, Jeff Daniel Phillips ultimately had to fill in the role, even though he was already playing Dr. Seymour Coffins later in the film. They just like, well, whatever, we'll play 2 different characters.
Make it work.
As the shooting location for this film was moved to Georgia, in contrast to the first film being shot in California, Rob Zombie and his crew had to work around shooting the film in gloomy and humid weather, which was very unpredictable. The script had to be constantly altered to accommodate sudden rainstorms, sometimes forcing reshoots to be indoors. The hospital scene, for example, where Laurie makes it out to a rain-soaked parking lot, was not scripted, and the rain wasn't stage rain, it was real. Whether intentional or not, Margot Kidder plays Barbara Collier, which has a very similar name to her character Barb in Black Christmas. Rob Zombie has stated the original Black Christmas is one of his favorite horror films.
Yes.
Lacey Chabert, or Chabert, however she says her name, has a small role in the film as Alice Martin, a character who appeared in the original Halloween 2, but her scenes end up being on the cutting floor whenever everything was said and done. So in neither this film nor its predecessor do we ever see Michael Myers driving a car. Rob Zombie omitted this element because he found the idea of Michael being able to drive silly and far-fetched. I agree.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. But Michael does drive in the original films. as a mean of escaping the institution, as we've already said. Although the film opens with an explanation for the meaning of Michael's toy white horse, and it frequently appears alongside his mother in his hallucinations, Rob Zombie has said it doesn't really have any deeper meaning than what is already established in the film, to counter many of the fan theories trying to explain why it's in there. He picked a white horse as being more cinematic, and that it really could have been anything else, including a fire truck engine or whatever.
Okay.
It's just supposed to represent its lost innocence.
Okay.
Pretty much. The word fuck and its derivatives are used 112 times in this movie.
Rob Zombie.
Yep. During the Halloween party, Laurie is dressed as Magenta from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This role was played by Patricia Quinn, who was also in another Rob Zombie movie, The Lords of Salem. Betsy Rue, who plays Jasleen, was actually given the role during a reshoot as a favor from Rob Zombie to Rue. Originally for Halloween 2007, she was cast in the role of Linda Vanderklok, but had to drop out of the film due to scheduling conflicts,
Wow.
and she was recast by Christina Klebe. The moody blues song Nights in White Satin that can be heard in the hospital scenes may refer to a vision Michael Myers has of his mother dressed in white on the night that he escapes from the coroner's truck.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Death Holler Awards. Laurie Strode in this version. I kind of dig it. I mean, because she's fucking crazy like she should be. She's got the tendency to go evil just like Michael does, and it's hinted heavily that she's going that direction. I like the fact that he played up this, I mean, she was the regular final girl, the traditional final girl in the first movie. In this one, she's a very damaged person, and because of all the stuff she went through.
It's because she's related to Michael.
What do you think about Michael in this one? The big homeless hermit that he is in this one.
Well, I liked him better in the first one. But I do respect how they made him kind of a nomad in this.
Yeah.
And he kind of has to. He has to go into hiding and shit. And it makes sense that he would have to eat animals in hiding. He goes after the dog. Probably ate people too, that's his choice. So yeah, I really like this character as Michael Myers though. He was a beast.
I think his kills in this movie are just so sick. Like, I mean, they're so good. Like the way that he, goes about them too. I mean, very vicious.
Yeah.
Best kill, Coroner Gary Scott, the glass decapitation, and also because he's a sick fuck that wanted to fuck a dead body. And underage at that.
Yes.
And Floyd hung on the antlers that he used as hood ornaments, which was very appropriate.
Yeah, I like the hood ornament one for sure.
It's not really shown on screen, but the way that Annie dies is very graphic and it sticks with you quite a bit because of all the blood that they put around her. Best scream is Laurie Strode. It's pretty good. It's not the best scream ever in all the movies we've seen, but it's good. Best boobs. The dancers at the Halloween shindig, I don't know if they're in the version that you saw, but every dancer that was on that stage had, they looked like they were fake because they were way too perky, but goddamn, like they were all big. They's all, the nipples pointing straight out. Like they were stacked, every single one of them.
Rob Zombie picks the best ones, honestly.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. And then the best side character, Sheriff Brackett. I mean, my God, he made the fucking movie, so he has to get it. Brad Dourif is so good in this. Franklin Award, Dr. Loomis. Fuck that guy, fucking asshole. How annoying is the Doom Prophet? Nobody really knows that Michael's even alive. Everybody's claiming he's dead until he shows back up. In this one, so there's really not a Doom Prophet in this particular one.
Mm-mm.
Dumbest moment, I can't really think of one in this. I mean, unless you want to say that the fucking white horse, which, fair, whatever. But Loomis defying the police and going after Michael at the end might be, but he did it out of the guilt and the need for redemption. So
yeah, that's the closest. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know.
Nobody really had any information to go off of. Anybody who was killed in this movie, it came as like last second, like, oh shit, who's this guy behind me? I'm dead. Like there was no warning. It was just, he's just there. Here are my runner-ups. Well, first of all, what are your runners-up? Because we never gave you that option on your segment. So what did you have as your also rans?
So I mean, and it makes sense that we do it now versus, so I'm gonna say my runner-ups are going to be. Nope. Oh God, he was fat in that movie. The Curse of Michael Myers. So that's a no. So it's gonna be for me a Halloween 2018, and
Okay.
probably it's not 5 because that one was fucking weird. So 4, Halloween 4.
Same exact ones.
Okay, that's funny. That's funny that we had 2 completely like favorites, but our runner-ups were identical.
And our favorites are the most hated by the community. So we are now, I mean, anybody who listens to this hates our guts because we picked the 2 worst according to all the fans. But
really?
Our runners,
when shit like fucking Resurrection exists?
Well, Resurrection is universally hated, so
Okay.
that one struck out as not even being a Halloween movie. They just forget that it even exists. Halloween Kills is so hated because the Evil Dies Tonight and some of those stuff in it, and this movie because of the White Horse and all that. So it's funny that we picked the 2 most controversial, like films otherwise, but then we end up with Halloween 4 and Halloween 2018. Which are pretty much, I think, everybody's picks.
Yeah, I mean, because 1 and 2, I think we can say that you liked 1. I was like, okay.
One's just, it's up there as being like top tier. So
2's even worse. 3's in a whole different bracket. 4 and 5, that little girl, fucking Danielle Harris, fucking amazing. There's 6, which I always keep forgetting which one that one is.
6 is the stupid one with where she's, like I said, been kept in some underground bunker near Smith's Grove, and she's got the baby that's an incest baby, or it's the child of the guy who ran the or the sanatorium. Whatever, it's gross either way because she's underage.
Yeah,
and then Michael is got this druidic cult that's like trying to get him. It's dumb. It's fucking dumb.
You got H2O, you got Resurrection. I mean, H2O, at least it's better than Resurrection.
It's better than that. That's all you can say about it.
That's the best you can give it. I think that Rob Zombie killed it, especially with Halloween. I do not appreciate what he did in Halloween 2. It just wasn't for me. Even though the kills were brutal, and I love that Michael Myers, there's no doubt about that. It just wasn't. I wasn't meshing too much with the Sherry Moon Zombie too much. It was just.
Don't ever watch the theatrical version if you ever go back for a rewatch. I'm just saying, don't do it.
Halloween 2018 and Kills, obviously Kills being my favorite. 2018 I loved. Ends, I don't know if I was just over it. I don't know if I need to give it a rewatch. I was not liking what I was seeing at all.
Ends almost became my favorite of that entire last trilogy, but then they fucked it over in the last little bit by bringing that whole Michael. And like I said, they sacrificed everything they were trying to go for to try to make the fans, and it doesn't work at all as a movie. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this for Halloween 4. Danielle Harris, amazing child actress. There's one scene in particular in that movie that almost, how Brad Dourif won this movie for me, almost got won by 4 because of one scene in particular. The scene where the babysitter, who is also her like adopted sister, has fell from the roof. And then of course, like she's been dangling from the roof herself, Danielle Harris's little girl character.
Yeah.
But she climbs down that, the siding or whatever, the valance or whatever they call it, gets down to the bottom, and she sees that girl there like unconscious. She goes over and she tries to wake her up. It was so realistic because it's something a little kid was saying. Instead of saying "wake up," she says "come alive, come alive."
I know
that's like such a little kid thing to say. Like it's so like that. With that hit me, I'm like, damn, this is like she's really playing the part of a little girl. Like that doesn't sound like something. Her Loomis in that is my favorite. of all the Loomises. I know that he's like Winnie the Pooh and way over the top in that one. I love how over the top in that movie he is. Like when he's talking in that scene to that old time religious guy, that old preacher in that truck when they're on their way back to Haddonfield, and they're sitting there sharing a drink and they're just going over how crazy the two of them are. Sold me. I was like, fuck, I love Loomis in this fucking movie. He is so good. And he's telling the play, and he sets the mob off, and then the sheriff's like, you think that was a fucking good idea to do? And he's like, well, we got to have somebody sweeping the streets. And
yeah,
I mean, yeah, they fucking killed some people that they shouldn't have, but the whole police force gets wiped out in that movie.
That's true.
So who was the smart one in that movie?
Exactly.
That ending where they make her the new killer.
Oh yeah.
If they would have stuck with that, I mean, chef's kiss. I loved what they did with that. And when they had her pick her costume, and she picks a costume almost exactly like young Michael. Loved it.
And
I
she was
loved
so
everything
cute
about
in
that.
it. I don't know. She was adorable. So.
Oh, and the Michael in that movie is actually he's pretty ferocious in that movie. And then of course we already talked about Halloween 2018. It's got one of the best stories in the entire, and I love that Laurie. She's the best version of her, like, period.
Yeah.
So I mean, if this movie, honestly, I probably picked this movie just because it surprised me so much. The one that I picked, Halloween 2, because it was one of those movies I hated so bad, and I was like, I'll give it a fucking rewatch. I'll go with the unrated cut because everybody says give it a chance with the unrated cut because the theatrical sucks. And I watched it, and I'm like, God damn, like I actually care. This movie's actually
it sounds like it has some things that a little more that I would appreciate. I still don't think it's going to beat Kills for me.
I don't think it will either.
Because of what I like and because of what I want.
And like I said, I would have picked Kills. That's the reason I was in with you 100% whenever you said it, because I felt the same exact way you did upon watching it. It's just a little, the more I think about it, just a little bit of that stuff like the Evil Dies Tonight, and honestly, and it shouldn't affect it, but the fact that what he meant with that mob thing kind of pisses me off. It really does. I mean, but otherwise, I can't disagree with your pick because I do like Kills quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, so kind of interesting. We ended up with the same runners up, but our movies were so drastically different.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, and like, at least you can agree with my Kills, but I'm just like, I
knew you wouldn't agree
try.
With this.
Yeah.
When you said, oh, we'll end up with the same movie, I'm like, no, the fuck we won't. And there's no way in hell that we're going to end up with the same movie.
I thought, well, we almost did. We technically 2018 for sure, you know?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that wasn't both
Halloween
of our
4, we kind of messed on that quite a bit.
That's true. So, yeah, interesting take, seriously.
I like all these movies better than I like Part 2. I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah, Part 2 was not a vibe.
And I tried to give it. I was like, I've never liked this movie. Let me see if, like I said, I don't hate it. But I
came into it blind, like completely blind. Like I don't remember 2 at all.
Well, that's the thing. I don't remember it either, but that's because I sleep every time I watch the fucking movie. I really do.
Like films,
I'm not kidding. But anyways, this was interesting, and I'm sure somebody, and there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Because we picked the most controversial ones of the ones that are not universally hated. So,
I mean, hey, you're welcome to throw in your comments of how you feel and why you think you like yours or what you thought made your film better than what we think. I mean, we're open to it. Everyone likes different things. I
guarantee you that Halloween 4, 2018, and Rob Zombie's 2007 are the picks for most people. Yeah. I guarantee you that's what they are.
I can't disagree with that. At least in my opinion, at least I can understand why,
Yeah, I mean, and I can't fault them. Like I said, 2007, I didn't really mind that at all when I was watching it, and it sets up 2009. So, I mean, it's got to be included in the conversation. It's just that the redneck stuff wears on me because I'm just like, Rob, you don't have to do this in every fucking movie. I know you grew up around a bunch of rednecks. I did too.
Yeah.
But like, you do something different with these characters slightly. Come on. anyways, what are we doing next? We're the final girls, and what did we say we was doing with that? I don't even remember.
I don't remember. Let me see if it's in the notes here.
We still have, we still have Terrifier to bring into the equation because he is the new slasher. I mean, he needs to be covered. And then I'm trying to think. I mean, we didn't cover Urban Legend. I mean, if we want to go back and pick that up, and House of Wax is still out there, even though it's kind of like a one-off, you know.
November, all we have put down is the Terrifier. And then for the last episode, we have Final Girl and pay homage to the Queen herself. She's not feeling so queeny to me. She became queeny, but that's all we have. We didn't really settle anything.
Okay, well, we can throw some things in there then. So.
Yeah, so we'll start maybe with the Terrifier and kind of go from there.
Yeah. Oh wow. I get to watch Art the Clown.
Woohoo!
And that little. Have you seen Terrifier 2?
Yeah, my young daughter introduced me to it when she played it for my son, and he was so distraught he had to actually take a break and go to the kitchen.
That little clown girl that he sees that just has the runny diarrhea that just runs out everywhere. That scene, oh my God,
that's gross.
I've not seen the original All Hallows Eve or whatever that was like the original movie that Art the Clown appeared in. So I'm gonna watch that and maybe do as the.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is, and I don't know if you want to watch it, but I will be watching that for the the Attack of the Bees because I mean it kind of led into Art, you know. So,
alrighty,
all right, peace be with you
and with your spirit.